Just a real quick reminder before we get started here that this is a special edition part 1 of a 2-part series, The Current State of Hip Hop for the Record episode with KultarGotBounce. It's important to note that this is recorded right in the middle of the battles as a summary from the very beginning up to the point of the recording. Meaning that there are certain things discussed here that might be predictions of what might happen in the future. Some things maybe we got right. You can of course listen and hear whether we got right, or maybe certain things that we predicted and didn't get right, you know. This gives you an opportunity to kind of see, you know, what was on the horizon at that point in time. Now part 2 will be released when the dust settles and a clear winner has been concluded. Now enjoy the special edition, The Current State of Hip Hop episode of For the Record with KultarGotBounce, of course here on the Certified Platinum Network. Alright, well, it's another episode of For the Record here on the Certified Platinum Network. My name is KRISTODOTCOM. This one's a different one. I got my guy KultarGotBounce here.
Yes, sir.
My guy, how you doing? Good to see you. We are here to talk about the current states of hip hop.
What is going on?
The streets are amok. The streets are a mess. There's a lot going on. There were rumors of the decline of the genre.
Yes.
Doesn't appear like that's the case. And we're here to break down damn near all of it, aren't we?
Let's get into it, bro.
Should we get into it? Should we jump into the game?
Let's go,
bro.
Take the gloves off, man.
What's going on with hip hop, bro?
I'm just saying, what a time to be alive, bro. This is the moment that album should have dropped. Right?
Bro, you think so?
What a time, bro. Who could have seen that coming, you know? I was blindsided. Even we were just saying earlier, even though we knew what the album was called, I was maybe days or weeks before or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I just knew as soon as I saw the title, I'm like, something's coming. Something's coming. This is
And you're referring to we don't trust you.
We don't trust you. Yeah. I just knew as soon as I saw the title, something's, and there was already rumors of
I was about to say
Drizzy and Future or whatever, but I didn't think it was like that.
To reach back, and we're gonna get into a little bit of order in terms of this, but just to kind of respond to what you said, there were murmurs. I don't know if you remember hearing about when Drake and 21 dropped their album.
Yeah,
how there were people that were saying, "Yo, doesn't that album that you did with Future? That was one that we held up in the rafters."
Yeah, we
looked at that one like it was almost if not classic, almost a classic album.
Yeah.
So then when people had seen Drake with 21, it was kind of we like 21, but people didn't really look at him in the same space as maybe a Future at that time.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely see that, but it's just is an artist supposed to wait until the other artist is ready?
Yeah.
And who's to say they would have. I think there's still room for not anymore.
What a Time to Be Alive 2.
There was a room for What a Time to Be Alive 2. But is Drake not supposed to do a collab album with anybody else because of that?
Mm-hmm.
That was my feeling on that. Because I heard those murmurs too,
Future feels away.
But then I was also why he's I don't take him as that kind of person. I don't know why he would feel away, but I don't know, man. When I heard those rumors, I was nah, I can't do that. I'm sure these guys are all in the at the studio sessions or whatever, and but you're telling me Future didn't play any of those records.
Yeah,
ever, it was hard to escape those records when they came out, man. It was just being played everywhere.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I was talking to my girlfriend about it too. I was when this album, because it was I think it was probably the Wednesday before everything had happened, when the Kendrick song everybody heard for the first time. I told her, I was to be honest, I have a feeling that something's gonna happen in rap as soon as this album drops. To me, for some reason, I'm getting suspicions that something's in this album where Future either throws a shot or somebody's featured, and Future somebody's throwing a shot direct or indirectly through Future and Metro or whatever else it might be. And that was literally exactly what happened.
The Kendrick thing caught me off guard for sure. Even just everybody else that was involved. That was just whoa, what's going on here? but yeah, I feel the same as you, man. When I saw that title, I was just like, yeah, something's gonna happen. And you know what? Actually, like, I just happened to jump back into For All the Dogs, like the Scary Hours edition, right? And then, like, you know, those, was it like 6 new songs he added or something?
I think it was a short. Wasn't it only like 6 songs?
Yeah, something
Did
like
you say
that.
16 or 6?
No, 6.
Oh yeah,
6,
it was 6. Yeah.
And like, when I heard those records, I was just like, what happened? Like, I felt like something happened from like when For All the Dogs dropped, and then when the Scary Hours edition dropped, right? And then there's that Pluto joint too.
What would Pluto do?
And like, I always skip that song for some reason. I just thought like, oh, it's just another song, like maybe Drake just singing about Future or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then, like, you know, now that all the stuff came out and you listen to that album again, it doesn't sound the same, man.
It doesn't sound
like,
the same.
Like when I hear Red Button or like Stories About My Brother, like, it doesn't sound the same, man. It's like, bro, like, I felt like Drake saw it coming like a long time ago.
Yeah. And worth noting that, like, he said the lyrics like this, in Drake's response, and again, we'll jump into it. Drake even said, this little song that you dropped did not start the beef with us. This shit was bubbling in the pot and now it's heating up.
Yeah.
He said, yo, this has been something since back then. Again, like I said, like BET Cypher. But yeah, how do you feel about how people say Drake is good for making disses at you, but only you're gonna know that he's talking to you until it blows up like something like this?
For sure, bro. I think like
the Kanye did. Like, Kanye was going crazy off of some of the Drake lyrics that he knew he was talking about him. He thought he was talking about Ye, but other people were just kind of like, you know, singing the song like Kiki, do you love me? Like,
yeah.
Great.
I think, like, you know, that's the way it like kind of should be, bro. Like, I know, like, you know, whatever, the artists will drop the songs where they straight up name the people and just disrespect. But like, hip hop's always been about expression, you know. Like, and when you're like Drizzy and you're at the top, like, I can guarantee this guy has like problems coming to his doorstep on a daily basis, especially when you're around like someone like Kanye, or you have issues with Kanye. Like, I'm sure, like, you know, there's probably text messages that go back between those guys, like,
for sure,
that are like wild, you know. So I'm not surprised that he throws jabs like in a song that only Kanye would know.
Exactly.
And that to us is just another bar or whatever to get to like another punchline. But you know, I don't like. I've always said this, like, that guy's never held back. You know, never held back on a song.
Okay, so before we get too far, I'm gonna wind it back. Like I said, what we're kind of discussing overall here is the current state of hip hop, right? And so when hip hop turned 50, do you remember hearing like there were news articles and people talking about how there was no #1 album or single that had charted until like almost later in the year? Like, it was like October, November, December when certain albums came out. For example, I think Slime You Out with Drake, SZA, and it's just Drake and SZA, I think. Lovin' on Me, which was a Jack Harlow song. Paint the Town Red, which is Doja Cat song. First Person Shooters with Drake and J. Cole. Those are the only songs, or the only #1 songs, and those actually all happened in like Q3, Q4 of the year. So people were already saying like, damn, like, hip hop, it's its 50th anniversary, but low key, like, it's seeming as though it's a quiet year for things that are going on. I think in terms of the album, because those were singles that ended up actually going #1 later in the year. Sorry, I hope not to yap here. I'm just kind of giving the info as well. Pink Tape, which was Lil Uzi. Nostalgia, which was Rod Wave's album. Utopia, which was Travis Scott. And then For All the Dogs, Drake. And then also Pink Friday 2, which was Nicki. Those are the only albums that actually went #1 later in the year, again, in hip-hop in 2023. So the current conversation that was kind of happening around like the end of the year and earlier this year was, what's going on with hip hop? Is there a decline? Is there like something that's happening where like the economy just and the landscape doesn't entirely seem the same in terms of what people are seeing? Do you kind of feel that? Did you ever feel that at all? They were always reporting low streams and
I mean, like, sure, like, that's definitely an issue, but like, it's not like that. Like, they only have themselves to blame then, you know, if you're gonna be worried about hip hop's numbers, like, then contribute. You know, like, why aren't you dropping? Like, I don't even know what really holds back some of these artists to drop. Like, maybe it's a bad deal or whatever, or just personal shit or whatever. But like, you know, if you're sad that hip hop has declined, then like you're probably part of the problem. You know, like,
that's real shit.
Like if like we're talking about the last 50 years, Drake had 10 of those. Like, one person had 10 of those.
Yeah.
You know, so he's off the hook. What about the rest of the people? You know, like, what's going on there? So, and like, now you can just like, you know, I know we talked about this last time too. Like, you can just make a song and like upload it.
Yeah, it's
like,
a lot
it's never
easier.
been so easy to release music. So how is it that like it's the easiest it's ever been, but like we're not getting it anymore? Like, we're not getting all that. Like, you would think that like every artist would be dropping on the regular,
right?
You know, but but there is definitely like this kind of like, you know, sometimes like a month will go by or 2 months where like you feel like it's quiet, you know. But I don't know, man. Like,
one thing I'll say too is, to that point, exactly, it's never been so easy just to hit upload. A perfect example, NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah.
Motherfucker drops like damn near almost every Friday.
Yeah.
I feel like a new NBA YoungBoy song is somewhere being spanned, or like I'm seeing it like a new YoungBoy song on YouTube or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think that because YoungBoy's like record label situation is a little bit different than anybody else's. Like, he's a little bit more independent. He's made so much output that he's been able to like burn through deals and like kind of become independent again.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the same push that maybe other artists that are slowed down a little bit more by their labels are. Like, a SZA can only drop once every couple of years because they're gonna slow it down, let her get her 50-second week in a row #1 every week of the year, like on some shit like that, where it's like, okay, we're gonna let this album do its thing, and then we will let you know when it's time to come back out.
When it's time to come back out, yeah.
So I don't know. I think to that point, it's the ones that are putting out music consistently. That's a good practice. Like, I love to see it, but I think that the forces are kind of working against them to kind of stifle them.
Yeah, something's definitely going on there, man. Like, you know, as far as like pushing the artists, like when they do drop, that can only happen once they get the music together.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't understand why a label wouldn't push you if you have your shit together.
Most definitely.
I just think maybe these artists aren't even like pulling up with music.
I think advances are kind of getting in the way of a lot of people's like creative ability. Like, when they get the money, maybe they aren't delivering.
Then you're just in it for the wrong thing. You know, and then it's like that. Like, maybe we should be talking about, you know, why are people in hip hop? Now, you know, like how, like, you know, there was a reason people were in hip hop like 50 years ago.
Looking at it like a free lick now. Yeah,
now it's like, exactly, you know, it's like a quick flip. You know, like, I can turn out this album in my bedroom and maybe I might get something for it.
Yeah.
You know? So totally, that's totally.
Yeah,
it's like a quick lick.
Yeah. In terms of to that conversation of hip hop being on the decline, bundles being removed from album counts, like how they don't count bundles. Like, if you sell a bottle opener, a T-shirt, and then an album, they count that as an album sale. And people like they were kind of selling bundles to their fans. Nicki was known for that. I think Taylor Swift has probably done that in the past. A lot of the bigger artists, Travis Scott's done it.
That anymore?
They don't count those anymore on Billboard sales. So when they would try to do radio contests and get a bunch of these packs out, or try to sell a bunch of these bundles that would also count as album sales, it kind of stopped. Where Nicki was known for calling Travis Scott out, like, just on the side for him doing that, even though she did it too. So that's been one thing. Lyrics being used in court with the whole Young Thug, YSL, rappers. I noticed it kind of slowed down around that time when Thugger got locked up, and the likes of Lil Baby, Lil Durk, they were like, yo, like, we're kind of a foot in, a foot out. Let's back up from our music right now and just kind of lay low. Right. Because we don't want the shit that we rap about to also be used in court like they're trying to do to Thug. So that being another thing. TikTok kind of diluting the music industry, and people, you know, not really making music or like just for the music. They're making it so that people can dance to it later on, and it can, you know, do its thing in that way. this was another thing, kind of the last thing that I kind of noted, where it's like, okay, maybe you could argue that hip hop had been on the decline at that point. The increased customization that's causing less major moments or like major fans, because we're not all really looking at the same entertainer or entertainment. Like back in the day, everybody fucked with Elvis just because Elvis was one of 3 people that are doing this music shit on a high level. But now it's Lil Blank and Young Blank, and there's so many different people that, like, you know, everybody's kind of got their own little communities, own little fan bases. So there isn't as many Drakes as there was before.
I mean, like, where do you want to start first? Bro,
I'm just kind of spitballing. We don't even have to go into any of those because I still got a lot more to cover.
I'll have to get into every single one of those.
Like, I don't know.
Let's start with the TikTok thing, because, like, we just got news. Was it today or was it yesterday? With the U.S. saying, sell to us or we're banning it.
A company from the U.S. needs to buy TikTok, otherwise you guys get out of America.
I didn't look too much into it. I don't know if this... I could have sworn it said that I thought it was government trying to buy it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like,
I think they're trying to
sell or it's getting banned here.
I think Congress. So Congress is the guys in, because we're obviously Canadian. It's different in America, but the Congress, the voting body, the one that the president sits on, and there's also all the House of Representatives. They're voting and essentially saying that an American company has to buy TikTok so that it's not in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party government. Otherwise, we no longer want you as a company operating here in America, because we're worried that you're holding servers in China and sharing information with them about American citizens. So it's like a very convoluted, like, like that's kind of my best way to try to frame it. And like
the only info they'd have is like America's fucking dancing all day long.
I mean, there was questions about the security risk of what that, but
it's deeper than that.
Honestly, I don't really think that there's much of a like, what are they gonna see? Like us learning how to make chocolate chip cookie ingredients? Like, people don't use TikTok for the nefarious shit that they think that people are using it for.
And I thought, like, if the user just agrees to terms, then why is it the government's problem anyways? You know? So I think if anything, Americans, just anyone, should have the freedom to jump on any app they feel like, and if they want to share the data, that's up to them. You know. In my opinion, I feel like it has a lot to do with the fact that in China, they don't have TikTok there. They have like their version of TikTok, like short form swipe app. But theirs is much more better for the kids. It's not as much kind of filled with information that like is useless. It's a lot more education based, and so they gave us the fucked up version,
right? And they don't allow for Facebook. They don't allow for Google. They don't allow for a lot of that stuff over there. So it's kind of like a power move from the U.S. saying, hey, like, if you're not going to let your citizens use our American app, then we're not going to let you, or just kind of try to flip it the other way and try to say we're not going to let your app be here. So
I see. So. Well, I mean, like, with the music involvement in it, you know, it's crazy because, like, we were just doing the whole, you know, run, like, to label just a few years ago. And what's crazy is that even in, like, label meetings, like, the question comes up, like, you know, so how's your TikTok? You know, how's the TikTok? How are the numbers on there? Whatever. And, it's definitely one of those other platforms where it's like, fuck, I thought I just had to make music. Now I gotta do this and that, you know, because it's such a big part of the market rollout now. Or like marketing rollout, you know. So I'm sure that maybe some artists are out there like relieved in a way that like, you know, hopefully TikTok goes away so my label doesn't make me dance for the rest of the year. But then for so many artists, it's such a amazing tool to like be discovered. You know, so
I think for a lot of pop music, it's very beneficial. But what it does is it kind of it does that thing where, you know how they say that the line between the haves and the have-nots are increasing, like where there's much more people that have a lot or richer or whatever the phrase is, and then there's a lot more people that are poorer and have less. There's not as much as that middle class or whatever you want to refer to it as. I look at it like that, where maybe the pop and pop artists like Taylor Swift and whoever else that is eligible to be on TikTok that isn't under UMG or anything. The ones that can put their music there, they're good. Like this works for them, but it doesn't. Maybe I don't know. I guess maybe it does help. The algorithm does help the smaller artists as well.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Well, I mean, I remember
maybe I'm wrong.
when like UMG pulled their catalog,
Yeah.
there was like, you know, I know all the independent artists were just like, well, TikTok needs music now, so it's like kind of like our moment to shine, you know. But I just think you can just never knock an app that will help you discover music, like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I do get the side of it where artists aren't getting paid because, like, yeah, some artists are like doing like 2 million like views a video or whatever, and the song is being played on there. But I don't know, man. I just think they should just be like grateful that people are running up their music at all, because like in a time like this where, like, you know, people can listen to whatever the hell they want and decide to choose your song.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's gray area. Sure, bro.
Honestly, okay, so let's go to the next one if you want to go through these. Lyrics being used in court in the decline of hip hop.
Yeah, that's like honestly, like some lyrics probably should be used, you know, like, and that's just like the artist's fault. You know, like, why did you name everybody that was involved in this operation?
Specific information.
Yeah, specific information. Like, was it that important to just get that half of the verse done? You know, where you just had to name all your homies, throw them all under the bus, and just for what? Like, you know, a hit?
I think when you're detailing illegal activity,
Yeah.
that is now, or like, okay, make it up, but you better hope that there's not a situation that happened that you're rapping about in real life.
Yeah.
Even if you're making it up, you better hope that nobody actually did this shit, and they try to find a way to tie it back to you. Because I get like the whole, like, of course, like for example, King Von had Crazy Story, however many, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or whatever it is. I respect him maybe rapping a story like that from the perspective of somebody that he knows personally, not mentioning them, not mentioning any specific like location or anything, but you're telling a story about the hood. Like, I get that. But when you're saying on May 1st I was wearing blue, you know where I was, like, you know, when you're like detailing shit like that, it's like, okay, what are we talking about now? Like, this could be used in a courtroom, in my opinion. I don't know.
I know, like, you know, obviously, like, even circling back to just like, you know, hip hop was obviously founded on being able to express yourself, you know, but it was no shape and form meant to be used as like just dry snitching on yourself or others even, you know. Because some people are getting themselves in trouble, but some people really are getting other people into trouble too. I can only imagine, because the hip hop police is real, bro.
No cap.
There's police out there that really do study, you know, like I remember back in the day when the G Unit shit was going on, like people were getting arrested left, right, and center.
Bro,
you know, and at the end of the day, the artists get to just hang out and still, like, they're the ones profiting off all the drama and everything. Right,
and they'll tell you, you can't come to this festival because there's instances where before somebody will come to Rolling Loud, Rolling Loud will get notice from that local police department or federal police unit saying, hey, we're not allowing you to have blank artist.
And that's the worst part of it all. Like, when it gets to that level,
it starts impacting your money.
It starts to impact your money and just like the entertainment of the fan, you know, like, why should they like pay the price because you decided to be stupid with your career,
right?
You know, like, hip hop already has a problem with artists showing up to shows, like specifically hip hop and rap, you know, like, how many times do you hear this guy couldn't cross the border? And especially us, when we get artists coming to Vancouver, oh, he didn't make it past the border, or because of the criminal record or whatever, or they just didn't even care to show up, or whatever, you know. Hip hop already has such a big problem with that. So that's like one thing that you really have a problem with. But imagine not being able to show up because of some shit you said on the song, and now you're in a court case or whatever. Like, insane. You know, I think it just goes against what hip hop is supposed to be. You know, like, I don't think it was meant to be this playground for you to just like, you know, bring the law into. You know, and it's just like one of those it's like, it kind of, I feel kind of childish for saying it, but it's like you're ruining it for everyone else, you know? Like,
I think a lot of people, it's one of those things where, and some people say, like, you know, the elders of hip hop, blah, say blah. I think we honestly didn't see what hip hop in its 50th year would look like, or when the young kids are now the old heads. And how that transfer of knowledge happens. in terms of, you know, just what it is you put in a song, the record business, you know, signing a lot of that stuff was kind of missed in translation, I feel like. And I don't know, I feel like this is just one of them. Like they didn't teach these kids to rap about some smarter shit or say things in a slicker way.
Yeah. And like the sad thing is like the labels like even know it, you know, they're like, this is kind of risky, fuck it might be a hit,
bruh.
It might turn a profit.
Gas.
You know, and if anything, the guy will just get locked up and won't have to worry about.
Yeah, we're still on a label. Like when he comes out, he'll drop this fire album. We're gonna drop it on our label because, of course, we're tied in with the label, with the contract or whatever. Yeah. And they profit even more off of your, you know, your inactivity.
Jail, you know? It's sad. Like I feel like some rappers are getting like pimped by labels.
Yeah, yeah. Lastly, I guess just, you know, us having more to listen and watch. It. Or like the, you know, the sea becomes larger, but it decreases. I don't know if it's the amount of boats in the water. I don't know the kind of metaphor I'm trying to use, but it's like there are more people making music now, so it's less. There are gonna be less Drakes. There's gonna be less high level, like Taylor Swift's. There's gonna be more of like the mid high level artists, but nobody that's considered like a superstar.
Yeah, because like, you know, those artists came. Like they were still around when like CDs were being sold, right? You know, and I think that had like a different impact on the fan base that we see today. Because like, you know, there was a time when people like really had to like, honestly, like you didn't get to hear the album till it dropped. Now you can hear leaks and shit. There was like leaks back then too, but like you didn't know about the album till like it came out that day. Yeah, and you had to get up, go to the store, and like buy it, or whatever, buy it on iTunes or something.
Even radio,
or wait till it gets played on the radio. Yeah, you know, and like now it's just like the consumer can just get it whenever the hell they want. Yeah, and whatever they want. Yeah, you know, so like that focus that they had, where it's like, oh, like, you know, we can get this consumer to just focus on us because we're the only artist dropping for the rest of the month. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, I'm dropping, Kanye's dropping next week, this, that, and it's all just being uploaded on Spotify. And everyone's focus is just like, consumers' focus is just divided. Right, exactly. And it just happens while they're all sitting on the couch. Yeah. Literally, know? Just like that. You can just pull it up whenever you want, you know? And like, music used to make you just like, leave your house, go buy the album, come back home, run it in your car all year long. Yeah, collect it in your car. When you buy your new car, you shuffle your CDs. It's more tangible. It's more tangible. Yeah, which is why like I don't agree with like what we were talking about earlier, how you can't sell like a CD along with that. It's like, why? Like,
the bundle. Yeah,
you know, like that's the only way that album is really being sold now. Like I don't know if you know, but like, you know what they count as like album sales nowadays, like 1,500 streams is considered like a unit. One unit. Yeah. It's crazy. That's just so fucked up. Like that's where we are now. You know, like why don't we just get rid of album sales altogether? Because we know damn well like no one's actually going and buying the album anymore. Right. Let's just count the streams for what they are. You know. Again, the age-old question: what is a stream? You can try to figure out what a stream. They say it's 1/150th of I don't know, some crazy number. Like you said, 1,500 times playing one song counts as one time somebody went and bought it at a... Yeah. Like how do you... Where's the math there? Like, how does that... I don't get it, man. But I don't know, bro. I don't know. So I think, like, sure, let's keep album sales, but let the fucking artists get that, like, you know, album out however they fucking want. Yeah. You know, and just count it. Like, who cares? Like, the fan bought it. Exactly. You know? That's it at the end of the day. It's the fan getting it at the end of the day. Right. You know? It's not like they're just tossing them out to anybody. Right. You know, so... Game's jacked up. Game's jacked up, bro. Yeah. But, I mean... In the midst of that, like I said, I'm looking at it at least, and I'm saying, damn, like, are we really seeing a decline of hip hop, or what seems to be like a low point? Yeah. Until we see what's essentially been happening. Now, I'm gonna first off go ahead and say that this part of the episode is gonna be dated. This will be right now a screenshot moment in time. Yeah. Hopefully Kendrick will respond. Hopefully we hear from Drake again. This is up to the point in which their most current song is Push Ups, right? Sorry, my mistake. Taylor made freestyle. Taylor made freestyle. So right now we're at that particular point. So anything that happens new past this, just regard it as though we're discussing what's happening right now. At least that's like where we're at with Drake responding.
Yeah.
But then we're also getting a glimpse of the Like That remix.
Exactly.
With Kanye.
Yeah.
And whatever that was that Ross did.
So we're gonna go back in time, and we're gonna come right back to this point right now where we're at with Ross and Yay remix and all of this stuff, right? So I'm gonna break down some of these points as I'm going along. Absolutely, feel free to interrupt me because I kind of want to get your input, and I'm gonna leave time for you to also like talk in between these, right?
Okay.
So first, when we're looking at kind of the chronological order of things, we're going back to 2011.
Yeah.
When the relationship between Drake, and I'm talking specifically about Drake versus Kendrick right now. I'm not trying to deviate from like we will kind of get into like the side quests, the side kind of the combos, but I'm considering like the big dog fight is the Drake versus Kendrick. I figure most people, right?
Yeah, most people are.
So of course, if you remember, I don't know if you do, Drake put an up-and-coming Kendrick Lamar on his 2011 Take Care album. The song is called Buried Alive Interlude, right? And that's honestly one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar verses or songs in quite some time too. Like that album itself is like a certified classic, I think. You know, on the Take Care album, and then he ended up that summer making Kendrick an opener on his 2012 tour.
Yep.
So that was kind of the first kind of rumblings you ever hear, like the two stars kind of intermingling or working together.
And that placement, like of like, you know, Drake putting Kendrick on the tour happened because like he heard Section 80.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
They chopped it up. Like, what are you doing? You know, I'm working on my album Section 80.
Right.
Oh, let me hear it. Blah blah. And it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and like anybody would have put like, or at least they should have put Kendrick on the tour.
Absolutely.
But I think, and like this is like, the reason I needed to state that is because like, you know, like obviously everybody's heard Section 80, and that's such like a raw form of hip hop.
Absolutely.
And that's what Drake was a fan of. So whenever, whenever this shit happens where like, oh, Drake's pop, this and that, it's like he put that artist on because of a hip hop.
Yeah, right.
You know? And he was trying to allude away from the whole, I don't want to take out R&B artists on the road.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you said in 4 p.m. in Calabasas, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the label is trying to make me take an R&B artist, but I want to take A$AP and Kendrick Lamar.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's why like he heard that and he's just like, wow, like this kid is gonna be something, so I want to put him on.
Most definitely. And I think that's valuable. You said it's like the most raw version of hip hop. He has all kinds of like stories from the hood in that album in specific.
Yeah.
And Drake is known, like he gets slack for falling off of the hip hop realm, but I think it's undeniable. Even like the hip hop heads, people that have been in it for a while, will attest that Drake is a student of the game.
Yeah.
He studied hip hop. He said that he derived, like people talk about how him and Joe Budden have a back and forth, but Drake has said like, you know, what Budden was doing back then I found was fire, and I tried implementing that rapping and the flow in some of the stuff I was doing early on.
Yeah.
Especially in what's it called? I'm blanking on the name of these. Drake's first album.
Oh, Thank Me Later?
Not Thank Me Later.
So Far Gone?
So Far Gone, exactly.
Okay,
There's, I guess, video footage of him saying that he's taking like some inspiration from Budden and put it on So Far Gone.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth noting that, you know.
And
he comes from that.
And like, you know, just while we're on the subject of like, you know, people giving shit for Drake about being the pop star and not like giving that much attention to hip hop, like he's still the only artist that will drop a song of 4 minutes of just rapping.
Yeah.
Like
no hook.
Like no hook. So as far as people want to press him for the pop stuff, it's like your rap, like if I bet you if we added up the minutes of Drake rapping, like just on these rap songs, is longer than like most rap artists' careers.
Yeah.
Like that's how much rap music he actually has out there.
Yeah.
Like not hip hop, like rapping,
like
lyrical gymnastic type shit.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that needs to be said because like I think right now there's such a huge ignorant fan base of both artists.
Yeah.
Where Kendrick and Lamar guys are just like, oh, he's the pop star, he's nothing.
Yeah.
And Drake fans are just like,
oh, he's Hawaiian shirt dude.
That fucking like dragon slang shit anyway.
Yeah.
Like, they're just too ignorant, you know. But like if Kendrick fans like really peep like the Drake catalog, I think they might be shocked.
Absolutely.
Some of the the rap records he actually has.
Yeah.
You know,
You really got to know.
And Drake fans might be shocked at, like, you know, how, like, even Kendrick can come out of a shell and, like, make a dance record or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
that damn showed us that. Like,
yeah,
some of those records were
even Mr. Morale. Like, what was that? Was Die Hard?
I think Die Hard. Yeah,
like
with Blast. I think.
Yeah, like you're telling me like Drizzy can't slide on that?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Or imagine like a Kendrick verse on Red Button.
exactly.
You know, like Drake has songs where it's like Kendrick Lamar type beats.
Yeah,
and like
I'll fucking. Like that's Kendrick Lamar. Like these guys could be best friends.
Yeah,
like, they're just beefing.
And that's the sad part, because like over all these years, there was like, it felt like there was room for them to do music together, but like it just never happened.
Yeah, it's the game.
Like personally, I feel like it's more of like and I'm sure you have this in your timeline too. Like, you know, I'll even circle back to it later. Of just like how Drake actually shouted him out like over the years. Yeah, he has. But I think it's in Kendrick's best interest, like, you know, like, oh, if I want to stay relevant above my music already being so great, I'll just keep like throwing jabs with the top guy. And I think that perfect time to say that, because my next point was Control. Yeah. So essentially in 2013, following the success of Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick featured on Big Sean's song Control, where it had how many? There were like 5, 6, 7 guys on that song. Yeah, but Kendrick, half of them were like even irrelevant. Even at the time, not gonna lie, I was like, yeah, they were like on XXL, but they were still like early in their careers. They didn't have the name they had until after. Yeah. But funny enough, of course, as you remember, Kendrick on that song with some of these guys gets to actually dissing them on the same song, talking about Drake, Jay-Z, Eminem. He's dropping names. He said, I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas. Yeah. He said, make sure that when you hop in a booth, I think he's just basically saying that, like, I appreciate, like, I love you guys for what you do, but when it comes to this rap shit, I'm trying to murder you. I'm trying to take your head off. Yeah. And that's essentially what he said. That's what got shit popping initially, like the first public instance of like some shade going on between Drake and to be honest, people thought that it was Kendrick and everybody. But realistically, Drake was probably the one that felt the most sensitive and the most personal about what Kendrick was saying in that Control verse. I think, you know, I saw an interview of Drizzy talking about that. It's just like I see where he's coming from too. I think, like, you know, even when I heard the verse, I felt like this way too. Like I held Kendrick like up here, and then I just thought like, wow, I didn't think you would have to play like a, like the whole like, oh, I want to be popular this week game. You know, like it's just like it was like a polite way of saying like, oh, I'm trying to make something viral. Yeah. You know, by just like name dropping on, and it's like you already have you have Section 80 on your resume. Yeah. You have Good Kid, Mad City on your resume. Yeah. But you're also out here like doing this. Yeah. And like you're not that like feared at this moment. At that moment. Yeah. You know? So I think that even aids to the conversation that some people saying of Kendrick being the type of artist that is good for a moment, but he's not good for kind of maybe a span of time. Like when Drake's always going to be hot, like anything he puts out is going to be hot, but Kendrick is good at creating the moment that you remember in your head. Yeah. But they're like, name a Control verse. What's the first words on Control? Like how does this start off? Like, some people just don't know, right? Like, most people don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I fucking don't. I'll be honest with you, like, and like people always knock me for this, but like I have yet to like even like hear Control from start to finish. Right. Yeah. Like I just checked it for that thing too. You know. Exactly. I peeped it maybe for the first time. Like I got to hear the beginning of the verse. Like like obviously when all this shit started up again, and then I just thought like, it's like, oh, like it's just, I don't know, it's just such a polite diss. You know? Yeah. But then like Drizzy said like, yo, they saw each other 5 days at the VMAs. They were cool. Whatever. You know. He's like, I get it. I like understand it. I just didn't think it would come from you. Like, exactly. Not it's not even like a personal thing. I just didn't think like you would have to make that move. You know, like why did you have like something's going on there? I think he's trying to allude to that, right? Like or point to that, like what's going on with Kendrick? Why is someone like who's someone who like people are comparing like the hip hop savior.
Yeah, Pulitzer Prize winning Kendrick.
Yeah, like coming down and like taking this angle.
Yeah,
like,
I guess maybe not Pulitzer at that point in time, but
that was
they looked at him in a high regard. Like as a skilled rapper, you don't need to do that. Your skill speaks for itself.
Your skill speaks for itself. Yeah, and then it's just like where's Kendrick's mind state at? Like, does he not see that for himself either?
Right.
Is he this guy that's like really gonna try to actually even go off on all these people? Because like, if you're the artist who's only dropped like 4 or 5 albums in 10 years, like, you're telling me that, imagine if everybody on that list like responded.
Yeah,
like, you
right.
have the time and energy to get back to those when you're the guy that's like barely giving like your own fans music.
Could have been bad.
Yeah, could have been really bad, man. It was risky. Yeah.
So then, right after he's on the Control verse, you may have seen the 2013 BET Cypher.
Yeah.
So that's when Kendrick goes on the BET Cypher. So between Good Kid, Mad City, or between Control, I think this is where the sequence of events. Yeah. Between Control verse and him going on the BET Cypher, nothing was the same dropped.
Yeah.
So if I'm getting the timeline correct me if I'm wrong. Between that time, nothing was the same drop. It's like a softer Drake album.
Yeah.
Furthest Thing was one of the major songs on it. So it's, very lower tone.
Start from the bottom.
Exactly. Just hold on, I'm going home. So Kendrick goes on the BT Cypher and says he tucked a sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes.
Yeah.
Basically insinuating that, Drake, I put him away. He can't fuck with me on this rap shit.
Yeah. That didn't age well.
It really didn't.
We'll get into that too later on. Because that circles back to Mr. Morale.
Yeah.
So when we get to Mr. Morale, we'll
sure, let me know about that moment. Yeah. So it made the relationship icy, but it didn't escalate until that was the last instance of maybe a murmuring that BT Control verse in 2013. Yeah. We hadn't seen Kendrick or Drake cross paths all the way from then, literally until this year. Like there was talks of them, like you just kind of look at the two pillars in the game, but they don't really cross paths.
Yeah.
What different coasts, different countries,
Yeah.
So nobody really associated Canada, California, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Until recent events. So this is where we're at now in the timeline for all the dogs.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of amazing the amount of time that's passed between the last time we'd heard anything.
Well, wasn't there something between was it The Heart Part 4?
Yes.
Right?
The Heart Part 4. Wasn't it Subliminals?
It was Subliminal.
So what I would say is that there were subliminals from back and forth from each camp.
Yeah.
During that time.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't say that nothing happened, but nobody was saying anybody's name.
It was pretty broad.
It was broad.
Could be anybody, but it's also like...
You kind of knew it.
Yeah.
You probably knew if you were one or the other at that time, right? Yeah. So For All the Dogs dropped, J. Cole and Drake are suddenly seen buddy-buddy. First-person shooters, the song, of course, where my mistake. J. Cole says that him, Drake, and Kendrick are the big three. Mm-hmm. And again, it's, I think, a J. Cole misstep. And we'll get into J. Cole.
Yeah.
He's basically calling himself the Muhammad Ali of the three, right? Yeah. Saying that he's the most, like, he's not afraid to,
Just to make a point that he did say, like, we the big three, like, we started the league. But right now, I feel like Muhammad Ali.
Right.
You know that saying, like, anything you say before but is just like,
throw it out the window. You're saying that you're top dog, so let's see.
But right now, I feel like Muhammad.
That's why a lot of people went back and in terms of what we'll speak about next, they said, "Really, nigga." But so J. Cole says that Kendrick evidently didn't appreciate the whole new best friend duo that J. Cole and Drake were. Going on tour, talking about the big three, talking about we're the best, or I'm the best, or I'm the Michael Jackson of this shit. I'm about to break his record with this song that Drake was kind of like, flexing on and things of that sorts. He, a couple of weeks later, we start hearing about this future album that's about to drop. We Don't Trust You. Like I said previously, we'd already been kind of hearing weird things about 21 Savage album, maybe Drake, Future not appreciating it. That's what I had heard, at least. And then other things about maybe Future not appreciating the way that Drake's moved, whatever it might have been. We weren't seeing them homies like they were in 2015. Kendrick all of a sudden pops up on one of the songs of that album.
Yeah.
Of course, this is "We Don't Trust You."
Yeah.
Kendrick on "Like That" verse.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts of "Like That"?
I didn't even like enjoy the verse. Like,
really?
I mean, like
Kendrick's verse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and not like obviously like if you're this deep into the podcast right now, like you already know I'm a Drake fan. But like I still really enjoy like Kendrick music. Right?
Yeah.
But like one thing I don't like, and this is just about music period, is like I don't buy it. I like when Kendrick's jumping off like that. Like I just don't buy it.
It's not. Yeah.
And and then like even like when like as soon as that beat started playing, I'm like, what is Kendrick doing here? Like, what are you doing here, Kendrick? Like,
what are you doing here, Kendrick?
We don't need you here for this, But like, it's crazy how Kendrick fans are just like, oh my god, Kendrick's just gonna take someone's head off or whatever.
Bro, I won't lie, I was one of those. I was dead ass one of those. I grew up off of Section 80. I grew up off of Good Kid, Mad City being my favorite album of all time, like one of my early hip hop albums. So you could tell, like I'm like, when that is one of your first albums that you listen to, it's kind of like you set a high bar for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I was still a heavy Drake fan. I listened to every single album from that time. But to see, I guess what it was the excitement of everything that we talked about up until this point of knowing that Drake and Kendrick have been throwing like silent like jabs at each other.
Yeah.
But we're finally seeing Kendrick not like around the situation.
Yeah.
But directly shoot at his target.
Shoot. Yeah. That like I'm not gonna lie, that it did excite me.
Yeah.
But I was just like at the same time just feeling like again.
You were loyal to OVO. You can say it. You can say it.
Like that too. But again, like here we are, Kendrick again, like just
a moment.
Recite like just having that control moment again.
Yeah.
And again, it's just like, like I don't doubt that they can probably like battle each other or like get into some shit.
Yeah.
But it's just like again, it's just a moment.
Yeah.
It's not like. I didn't even feel like he teared Jersey at all. Like just like when you're coming off saying like I'm like, what was that? I'm snatching chains and burning. Like what? Why you like?
Do they be burning tattoos? Where did that come from? I got the snatching chains part, but I was like, wait.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Because Drake has those tattoos of all the faces of the most influential people of his life on his body. Well, so he's got like Birdman, I think Lil Wayne tattoo, Aaliyah tattoo, his mom, and
like. Even if it wasn't about Drake, is the point I'm trying to make. Like this is Kendrick Lamar that we're talking about snatching chains and burning time. And anyone can say the same about Drake too. But like at least like when I see it with the Drake thing, like I'm sold on it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt. Like there's even proof of all that. Like if you look at Drake's career, like there's been shit happening in the back. There's been cases even, but we still. Just never gets brought up to like headline news or whatever.
I want to know if you've heard this. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this phrase that I've been seeing on the internet where it might be a running joke, it might not be, but it's a comment that I see on regular. It's exactly typed out like this. Nobody's talking about how Drake has an iron grip on the Toronto underworld. They type it exactly like that, where they're like, nobody is making a big deal about how Drake has an iron grip on the Toronto underworld, where they're like, this guy's a mob boss, but everybody looks at him like this sweet R&B rapper.
Bro, like I've heard, like I can't talk about it, but like I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that at all. Like and like there's like a lot of reasons like you're hearing, like seeing that.
Yeah,
and like. But that's only someone who can like if you follow Drake closely, like you'll understand that, right?
Yeah.
And even if you start getting into like, because I know like he's the biggest star obviously in hip hop or just even in music in general, and like he's from the same country as we are, and like the world starts to get smaller in that regard.
Yeah.
Just from being in the same country.
Yeah.
And like people only ever. I don't like no disrespect to Calgary, but I think most people when they're traveling Canada, they're either going from Vancouver to like Ontario or back. Like that bridge is smaller than you think.
Right.
And like I've definitely like heard and like know some stuff where I'm like, I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
You know? If it is true, then yeah, I doubt. But I've definitely know some things, and like that's why like when he says it, like when he'll say things like that, I don't doubt it. It doesn't have to be Drizzy doing it himself.
Yeah.
Like you know, even with like that stuff removed that you're talking about. Like the man has like still has a reputation for you know the people around him doing that, but I don't see Kendrick like I don't see anyone sliding for Kendrick like that.
So I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna put this. I'm not even gonna ask you the question that I was about to ask about what you think about the weight between the Compton activity that Kendrick might be a part of versus Toronto activity that I'm not gonna ask that question because I don't want you tied up in that. Continuing on, I mean,
we could talk about that.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that maybe there's more pull? Because they mentioned about how Kendrick bought a $8 million condo in New York, in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe his, like, West Coast loves Kendrick, and I think they're always going to love him.
Yeah.
But do you think that maybe his, like, affiliation is not as strong as Drake's affiliation with, for example, I don't even want to drop the names of some of these crews from Toronto. But artists, like...
I think you're totally right, bro. Like, I think... You know, there's like the, you know, with Drake being like the top dog, right? Like, I think there's a reason to protect that. You know? There's reason from, like, I don't even think, like, I wouldn't doubt if people in Toronto are riding for Drake and like unnecessarily.
Let's bleep this out, editor. Like, yo, the Pressa and the those guys be riding heavy for Drake and OVO, but on like a low street level. Like
so like if this is bleeped out, right?
We'll bleep it out.
Yeah, so this is like exactly what I was talking to, like even all the shit we're talking about earlier with, like, you know, the shootings like that happened in downtown.
Yeah,
those two guys that got away, like that crew and like Pressa's crew are like big, like like they're really big, and that those two guys that were shot in downtown, they're part of, right? And that's like an East Indian gang,
right? And
now they've, like, you know, they have ties with like Pressa and all those guys and the thing, and like they're like very, very, very strong out there. Like incredibly strong. And you know, I think Drake has a hand in like all that.
People say that Toronto's sweet, yo. Don't get it fucked up. No. Toronto is not sweet.
They're not. They're not.
Yeah.
And I don't even think like it's on some shit where like, oh, we gotta compete with like Compton and this and that, whatever. I don't think any of that shit matters. Like people and that's all like you know, with the Kendrick, Compton has like a worldwide recognition.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, and Toronto probably doesn't, but I don't think that matters to anyone in the Toronto game. Like, I don't think anyone's like, you know, but I think that's also where Kendrick, like, I think Kendrick recognizes that. Yeah. You know, like, hey, like, I'm from Compton. Yeah. Like, like, it's very rare for neighborhoods to be popular. Yeah. And that one not only is popular, but, like, holds a special place in music. Mm-hmm. You know, I can only imagine, like, having that behind you. Absolutely. And, like, that power, you know, and I just think he's, like, Spider-Man, like, just, like, not being responsible with it. You know, yeah, you think so? Like, just get like, I don't think he should be using it as like muscle. I don't think he could. I don't think anyone's gonna. I shouldn't say anyone, but I don't think like the majority of like, you know, muscle out there is going like, yeah, we need to ride for Kendrick. You know? Yeah. Okay. But I think it just means more for trying to do it for Drake than it does for Compton to do it. That's very fair. Yeah. That's a fair. Because at the end of the day, it's music. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And like, you know, California life, like especially like with their laws, it's much harder. Like people aren't gonna ride for you for music, bro. Like there's 3 strikes and you're done. Mm-hmm. But we already know how reckless like Toronto is. Like shit has happened for way less. Yeah. You know, for like way smaller situations, wilder things have happened than this like Drake and Kendrick beef. So yeah. That's just my 2 cents on it, you know? Like, absolutely, yeah. I think it's just because Drake of who he is, it makes sense for anyone out there to be like, no, like you can't come at him like that. Yeah. You know, it means something out here. Yeah, I think that definitely. And I think like for Compton, it's just music. Like, yeah, you can't come at a guy, but like we're not gonna go to jail for this dude either. California is known for a lot of things. It's the, you know, film capital of the world, but Toronto is known for Drake. Yeah. From a worldwide perspective,
when you look at kind of what like geographical importance, this one individual means more to this place than this one individual means to this place.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting scale.
And like, you know, like California, like, you know, I wouldn't doubt Compton has like murals of Kendrick and everything and all that. But like, I just think Drake's like association to his hometown is just much stronger than Kendrick being from Compton.
Yeah, definitely fair.
Like, what did Khaled say? Like, how do I spell Canada? D-R-A-K.
Yeah. No cat. I'm just remembering that he said that. No cat. That's how they look at it. Like, dead ass Drake is the whole country.
Yeah, Drake. Like, as far as Canada, like, if you're gonna bring up Canada, you're gonna bring up Drake, right?
Yeah.
Or vice versa, you know. But the thing is, like, it's also like a weird moment because like Compton has like, you know, it already has Pac, it has Snoop Dogg, it has Ice Cube, Dre, you know, like heavyweights that have like made their impact in the game. Toronto also, like, they do have that, but like I think what Pac was to Compton is what like Drake is to Toronto, right?
Right.
So I know that happened in the 90s, whatever. But like
at that time,
our biggest impactful person is Drake, right? You know, and so like when it comes to like, I guess like yeah, or just even legends in general. Like when you're talking about Compton, like you're gonna name a lot of people will name Kendrick already,
right? But
there was many more that came before. But we just got ours.
Yeah, exactly,
You know,
exactly. So. Next up, in terms of what happened, so. Like that comes out, it shakes the world again. It's another one of those Kendrick moments, those Kendrick control moments where everybody's in disarray. What's going to happen? As you know, first we're seeing silence on Drake's side. J. Cole announces a surprise album on that Thursday. Might delete later, where you know nobody expected. They thought we were waiting for the fall off, but he drops this project, which later was identified as a mixtape. I think it was with a collection of songs. With the last song being called 7 Minute Drill, that was a diss at Kendrick or a response back to Kendrick saying fuck the big three. And to be honest, I don't even think Kendrick went that hard at J. Cole. Like I think J. Cole caught a stray. Do you think?
Yeah, like I
think
J. Cole did catch straight, and I don't think like J. Cole's like even response back was like
warranted
or like something you need to go back and apologize for.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. And that's just like, it's unfortunate that like that happened, but like I guess until we get more clarity of like what really happened in the time leading up from the song dropping to him taking it down, like what happened between him and Kendrick.
Right.
I don't buy that it was like a self-revelation of like, oh, I just want peace and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because if that is the case, and it's like Cole, you just got knocked down a few points in the history books, bro.
So I mean, he did say that he had a conversation with Kendrick and he decided that this wasn't something that he wanted to be a part of. I think because he realized. Oh
really? I didn't even hear about that. So something was like you're saying like after 7 Minute Drill. After
7 Minute Drill came out, that came out on the Thursday. I guess on the Saturday, Sunday was Dreamville Festival.
Yeah.
Where I think on the Sunday, the last day of the festival, J. Cole went on stage and that's where he did the apology. He said that he had a conversation with his brother, like it was Kendrick. He was saying, and that he respects him and that he didn't want to go there with him, but because of the bloodshed, because of the bloodthirst for the back and forth, he felt the need to reply in that way by saying that Kendrick's albums were trash or whatever it was, downplaying him. When he didn't feel that way, and he basically went on to say, like, put your hand up if you think Kendrick's one of the greatest artists to ever do it.
Yeah. So that's even like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of even more weird. Like this. So that conversation was had between like
J. Cole and Kendrick.
Yeah. See, like if Kendrick's coming how he's coming, there's no phone calls. I'm not answering. I'm not picking up.
Right.
You know, like you said what you said.
You said fuck the big three.
You got your response, and like you made your bed, like lie in it, you know.
Yeah.
So
I will give him credit.
I guess like, you know, depending on like what was said on that phone call, is it like, you know, is it Kendrick going, hey, like what's going on here? Like you know.
To be honest, I feel like what happened was Kendrick says fuck the big three. he doesn't necessarily diss J. Cole any more than that. He just basically said, fuck the big three, it's just me.
Yeah.
They have a conversation. I feel like this is just a hypothesis or just guessing. I feel like Kendrick says, get the fuck out the way. He says, if we're still cool and I don't have any smoke with you, get out the way, because when I'm aiming at this guy over here, the Canadian, this is actually for war type shit.
Yeah.
And I get that you're the type of guy that maybe isn't really about that, and you're like, maybe Kendrick in the back of his head knows what's gonna happen to J. Cole when he maybe backs out from the fight. People are gonna look at him as weaker. Yeah. But he knows, I know where my sniper rifle is aimed. If you're not about this, then just get out of the way, because it's about to turn up.
Yeah. I feel like only two squares can have a conversation like that. Like, this happens when you beef with squares, bro. Like, you know, like, they're just like, what? Like, I don't like, oh my god, like when J. Cole like apologized, it's like I felt very uncomfortable about it.
Bro, me too.
It's like, what is going on? This is really messy.
As a J. Cole
but that's
fan,
just because, like, you know, as like a fan of hip hop, like, you're just expecting like some wild shit to happen.
Yeah.
It's about to go there, but like people are apologizing. Like, songs are coming out, people aren't even claiming them.
Yeah.
People who just like are like side quests are like, you know, jumping in, whatever. It's just like, what is going on? You know, like that, and like even when you figure things out or you make points, at the end of the day, you just go, what the fuck is going on? You know?
Yeah.
But as far as the J. Cole shit goes, like, just L.
It was a very sad day for hip hop, to be honest. Yeah. I think a lot of people were depressed by that move. Like, genuinely, like J. Cole fans and non-J. Cole fans were like, what's going on to the game? Like, what's happening to the game?
Yeah, and like I said, this is what happens like when you beef with squares, bro.
No,
you know what? I imagine Drake just going like, what? Like, well, whatever. Like, you know, I got this anyways. You know?
Yeah.
But again, like, one thing I did want to touch on before we go further is that, like, you know, how did we even get to this like Metro and Future album, right? Like, one point you brought up was, you know, with everything that happened with the 21 album coming out. Like, I heard from somewhere like they did like make a dent in the album of working on What a Time to Be Alive.
Oh, okay.
But then Future got involved with like and I didn't know this, but did he like executive produce or something, like the Yeezy project or something?
Who?
Future, yeah.
The Yeezy and Ty Dolla $ign?
I don't know. I don't know which album it could have been, but like, I mean, who knows with Yeezy? Like, he probably has like 8 albums. Like,
did he ever executive produce? Because what Yeezy albums came out? It was the gospel album. It was Ye self-titled, the one where the cover was have bipolar or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, like, who knows when like What a Time to Be Alive 2 was even being worked on?
Right. Okay.
But I just heard like where the problems really started stemming from them is like when they were working on that album. You know, Future kind of had to put a pause on it
to go work with Ye.
For Ye.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Like, I guess like you know, where Yeezy and like Drake are, it doesn't matter what he left for, as long as they even just involved leaving for Ye.
Yeah,
I think it's just like whatever.
Right.
And I think he was just like, well, I'm gonna keep going regardless. So I think maybe that's when he decided, like, we'll just do this 21 thing instead.
Yeah.
And that's the only theory that can make me go, why like Future would be like, well, what the fuck? Like, we had something going too. You're gonna be soft about like working with Ye, you know? Because like, that's one thing I never understood. Like, why would Future be upset about Drizzy working on another album? The only way he could be is if like he like legit put a pause on What a Time to Be Alive.
Right.
You know.
Do you give any credence to the woman rumors where like they slept with the same girl? And...
Fuck no, bro. They've probably been doing that shit for years.
Yeah.
Like, no way it could be a woman involved.
They be swapping them out, bruh.
Bro, like, you know how wild these guys are? Like even, like, they're definitely swapping out. But, like, even when they have a lady, like, look at, like, ASAP coming out. Like, you know, taking a shot, like, oh, like I hit it first. Yeah, it's like, dude, you're married or, like, you're married with kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, these guys don't care. Like, women is just, like, the women in hip-hop, you know, that are around, like, the rappers, they're just there for, like, moments, and so like we can get some like lines out of you. Like,
Yeah.
that's it, you know, like I'm sorry, but it's had to be said. like that's the only reason a lot of those women are around, man.
I
It's
like
just-
this
it's
Maybach
just-
music.
Yeah, like,
Get a good ad lib
know?
in, you know.
yeah, bro. Like none of these guys are in like deep relationships or like, you know, on the way to being married or whatever. You know, half of them are divorced, like
Bruh.
kids, whatever. You know.
Second, third marriage, like if not marriage, it's like your girl of the month. Like,
Yeah, like when I saw the whole girl thing, I'm like, no way, it's not over.
It's
girl.
not over.
This can't be.
That's
And then
what-
when I saw her, I'm like, definitely not over. Girl. Like,
not that girl.
yeah, like I'm sorry, like there's been way better women than you involved in beefs, and like this would not happen. There's no way in hell World War II of hip hop. stemmed
Bruh,
from
when I saw that
this
it was that girl, because I was watching the video and she's like, yeah, these I'm not black, these men aren't beefing over me, but these niggas need it. I was like, wait, what?
She said, "Oh, but she's in the car, right?
She's
like,
in the car. I was like, yo, I closed my phone. I was like, yo, what's happening right now? Like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? That's the question that always comes up. Like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, no.
Anytime something new happens, it's like, what is going on, man?
Dead ass. Okay, so getting to where a little bit more where we are right now.
Yeah.
A Drake single called "Push Ups" or "Drop and Give Me 50"
Yeah.
leaks on the internet where people are unsure of whether this is an AI song or this is an actual release.
Yeah.
Essentially, the way that this goes is that it was unconfirmed for some time. I believe it was Academics actually.
Yeah.
That goes. He's on live stream. He says Drake just texted me saying, "Man, stop playing this whack shit. Play the real version instead," and sends him the CDQ.
Yeah.
Sends him the official mixed and mastered version.
Yeah.
And Academics plays that on his stream, and then from there, that's the version that starts circulating because it was essentially confirmed.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you first heard the song? Did you hear the leak first, or
Yeah, no, I definitely heard the leak first. I felt like as soon as it came out, people were just like jumping on it, you know. I didn't feel like it was AI even just from the jump,
really?
you know. But I guess that's like, you know, being a Drake listener, like you, like no AI has fooled me yet. Like not a single AI song has been like convincing. Yeah. So I didn't buy the AI thing like from the jump. But like as soon as I heard the who kid
I know you
bar,
tripped.
I was like, holy shit, bro! This guy
This is the gutter shit. Like
if you know hip hop, like, and you heard that tag, you know, like
You know some
right
shit's
away,
about to
like,
go down.
and this is what Drake's really good at doing. Like he didn't even say anything yet, but he really like sets like the picture, you know, sets the stage up of like what's gonna happen and how I'm gonna like, you know, play this, you know.
Drake's
Because that Who Kid like tag like has only been on like menacing songs, bro.
Yeah.
G-Unit mixtapes, like they took down Ja Rule because of that tag.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, anytime you heard that like that tag, you just know like this is gonna be something, you know.
I think to that point, he's very good at not even saying a word, but having the record speak for itself by what you're like.
Yeah.
He is very great for taking cultural moments and utilizing that, whether it be in lyrics or in the song. Like you said, like only a select few are gonna know that Who Kid ad lib.
Yeah.
Know the feeling they felt when they first heard that ad lib way back in the day,
bro. And like and
kids
it was
today
a
don't know
leak too.
Yeah,
you know, because like there was a lot of like G-Unit records back today where like the album songs got leaked too, and it was a Who Kid tag.
It was a Who Kid tag.
It's almost like Who Kid just leaking the song himself. So like I think like it was like I think he was trying to create a feeling.
Yeah.
So even though it's just like a diss song, anyone would have dropped it just like fuck it, I just want to get this out. He still caused a feeling, and I know he knows that like if you know, like this is gonna
hit you there.
It's gonna hit you a different way.
Yeah.
You know, and Kendrick being someone who I can only imagine knows like every crevice of hip hop.
Yeah.
Like that would have struck a nerve with him. You know, like letting your own song leak, just like a G-Unit like leak would happen.
Yeah.
And hearing that Who Kid tag and like you knowing I got the leak, you know, like yeah, just like when I heard that I was like, it's done. And the song hasn't even started at this point yet.
Exactly.
You know? And these are like feelings you get like at the very, very beginning.
Exactly.
And then when the bars came off, it's just like you're surprised, but also like not surprised at the same time, you know, that it was gonna get to like this level.
It felt like it was go time when you first heard it.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, like, even like, you know, I know we haven't talked about tailor-made freestyle yet, but like now that we like have both of those songs, you kind of get a glimpse of like maybe, you know, what would have happened if like Drake decided to even respond to like Pusha T back then.
Yeah.
You know, like
what that would have looked like.
What it would have looked like. But also like I'd also be happy if I was Pusha T right now, going, thank God that I didn't get a response like that.
So you think that the tailor-made freestyle is to the level of maybe what he would have said to Pusha T?
I'm just like the pettiness of it all.
Yeah, okay.
Like it could have gone there.
They said that there was some devastating stuff on that song, but Jay Prince said, "Yo, nah, we're gonna, you know."
But I think he's going like, I'm not listening anymore.
Yeah,
so that's why we got these tracks that we did now. But I also think like it's kind of now that the years went by, I kind of respect that he didn't like respond to Pusha T, because like, I think it just showed like, you know, Drake does feel like he has bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I think that's true.
You know,
I think that's very true.
So even though we're like years past that Pusha T joint, it's like it's kind of like still sending a message like you're not even worthy of a reply, but someone like of Kendrick's stature is, and you're not.
Yeah, it's kind of still speaks to the level of play. Yeah. I do think that Pusha T did some irreversible damage. Like he ruined a Adidas deal.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like
the deal with the baby, he blew up. The fact that there were a lot of things that made it like a bad loss. Like there's a difference between a loss and a bad loss.
I understand that like on the business end, but like what else do you expect from like Pusha T? You know, like what have you even heard from him since then?
Yeah, no, you're right.
You know, and like
because some people might say, did you really win?
Yeah. And like is this the level we've gone to now? And like this is like a point I want to bring up when we talk about like the decline of like hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Where like someone of Pusha T's caliber is like, I got news on Drake, let's do an album rollout. And my news on Drake is this guy has a baby.
Yeah.
Like what? Is that how mid like your life is? That like this is like a rollout?
Yeah,
because I don't know if you remember around that time Kanye was doing the whole like everyone's dropping an album on
every Friday,
right? Yeah, right. And like
everyone drop an album.
Everyone dropping an album, and like first song Pusha T's album, first song Drake this, like, you know, like 8 bars in or whatever, just talk about Quentin, just baiting him.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about that was like, not to get too sidetracked from like the whole Kendrick thing, but I just want to get into kind of like how sad like the like situations are to like start like going at Drake, you know? Like, Drake was like writing for one of those albums. Yeah. You know, like the part of that Good Music rollout.
A lot of credits a lot of writing credits. Yeah.
He had like 2 credits on the Ye album, you know? And it's like while that's happening, he's also, I think, because I remember there was that whole thing where like, oh, how did Pusha T get the news about the kid, you know?
Right.
And I think a lot of people on Drake's side were saying like, yo, like he was with Kanye like just weeks before all the shit came out, and he showed him a photo, you know? So I'm just thinking like, yo, if you know that like your boss was showing a photo, is what you have even news then?
Yeah. Did you hear the speculation that allegedly ASAP was one of the people that also shared the news of the baby because he had relations with Sophia Brousseau before Drake? Did you hear about that?
That makes sense now. Like, you know, like, but then it's like, again, it's like, yo, all you guys like put your heads together and this is what you guys came up with. Yeah. And on top of that, it's like, you know, someone who should be like respected, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Kanyes and like the Pusha T's, like, yo, what the hell, like, what is going on with you guys that like this is like, you know, pressing news? Like, it's not pressing news that someone has a kid. It's like none of your business, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess in hip hop it is. Like,
all is fair in love and war.
Yeah, I guess so. But just, I just thought it was sad, and like now we're over here with everybody coming together. You know, what do they call them? The Avengers?
They're coming together to defeat Thanos.
You know, it's just like one thing that like is really fucked up is that like most of the beefs that he's gotten into always stem from like just some whack shit.
Yeah.
you know, and like people are just getting off for no reason. If they just shut up and keep making music, you might actually have a chance to outdo Drake. If you just shut up and make music.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They call him hitmaker, right?
Yeah. You know, like I don't know. I just don't get it, man.
Not to deviate too far. To be honest, at first I was having a hard time trying to differentiate if Drop and Give Me 50 was AI.
Yeah.
But after hearing some of the vocal inflections and the pronunciations, there's been times where he shouted out Kai Cenat in the past.
Yeah.
The way he said Kai Cenat in that actual first leak, it sounded the same as how he did when he announced like Kai was in the building. I think one of the tours or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
So he said his name a little bit differently in a way where it was like, yo, okay, this sounds like his accent is there.
Yeah, okay.
That his Canadian, whatever you want to call it, the accent you could tell is there. So that's where I was like, okay, I don't think this is AI.
Yeah.
But it does sound like a reference, like an early cut or whatever it was. So that's being said, what do you think about how that happened, like that moment in what we call hip hop battle rap, or the back and forth of hip hop, where now we're having to ask every song that we hear, is this AI? And if you think that does something for the artists that are like releasing these songs or maybe not releasing these songs, is it easier for them to hear a song and be like, oh shit, you know, that was actually a good ass idea, let me fucking write this in the actual response that I was gonna do? Or do you think like for the ones that maybe will put out a song, agree that, hey, that wasn't mine, it was AI, but that's a temp check and they know that they gotta go back in the studio and do this differently or that differently? How do you feel like AI, how this has kind of impacted, you know, the hip hop space when it comes to back and forth battle?
I like, you know, I've heard quite a few like AI songs, but again, like, you know, I said earlier, like they've never been convincing.
Right.
So I never saw like them as like even a real threat. But it's one of those things where like eventually it'll just get better and better and better.
They say you always hear the worst version.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and I think that also is why like many people thought the Push Up song was like AI, just because like the low quality of it. You know, most of the AI songs I've heard have been like pretty low quality. That's only because whack people are trying to use the AI.
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly.
But I'm sure like in a professional setting, maybe it can be convincing. But I just, so far, I haven't heard anything convincing. So I never saw AI as like a threat just yet. You know? But then like,
I think it's worth noting you mix and master too, right? So you
like,
have an ear for what sounds flat, what sounds like,
or just like that guy would like, there's other things too, like that just not would even be said, you know, because some of like what was that, it was that Drake and Weeknd joint.
Oh yeah,
where they're just like name dropping, like, oh, like
there's
Selena,
Justin Bieber,
like,
got my heart on my sleeve. Yeah,
it's
that
like,
song.
All right, like this is just like a fan's wish of what they would do.
That's
why most AI songs are like, well, I wish he would have done this song. You know? But like when I heard Push Ups, like I just knew from the get go, like, no, this is
real bars.
Yeah, but then like, you know, with the AI shit, like, you know, what happened on like with Taylor Made, that was the first time I actually felt like, oh, okay, this can be like used to, like, this can actually really be a threat. Yeah. You know.
So I guess the last song I have, or one of the second last point I have, is another Drake record, like we said, Taylor Made Surfaces, where Drake uses a AI Snoop and Tupac to speak at Kendrick Lamar. So it was evident that it was Drake that recorded the song, but he took the voices, like put like a voice filter over top of him saying the bars.
Yeah.
So it still sounds like Drake flow, but it's the voice of Tupac, the voice of Snoop.
Yeah.
Where he has, I think, as far as I'm understanding, he's privately claimed that this song was real, that it's his, but he hasn't put it on DSPs or posted it on his story or anything, as far as I'm aware.
It's on his IG post.
Oh, is it on his IG? Okay, he posted it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did claim it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's on his like the Drake Instagram account.
I personally have stopped, and I have to keep reminding myself to stop putting too much importance to if it comes out on DSPs or not.
Yeah.
Because some people try to argue, well, he didn't drop it, he didn't claim the song.
Yeah.
But in the past, one have mixed, like you said, leaks.
Yeah.
Who Kid leaks. It's always, that's the way that diss tracks back and forth happens.
Yeah, I think the claiming thing is just because of the whole AI thing. You know,
right?
Like, for people who like can't see through the AI, they need to know, like, hey, are you claiming this or not, right? But like, G-Unit never fucking, you're right. Like they never had to claim a fucking song. Like, you know, like if it's out and you've heard it, it's out.
Yeah.
You know, it's out. Like, forget it. That's why we care that leaks happen. You know, because the song's out.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think there's any credence to it? Like, should we start caring a little bit more about that because of somebody in their bedroom can go and make a Drake filter voice and
of course, you know, but like well, for me, like I feel like I can always see through it, but like
I don't want it to have to go to that. That's kind of my
like it was kind of fucked up how, like, you know, there was like a few like diss songs coming out, and then people are like, all these guys aren't claiming that
a lot of the Kendrick ones,
the Kendrick ones especially, you know. But like, I don't know, I just think like right now where the AI is for music, it's easy to see through, you know. So me personally, I never felt like it was like, I never heard it being threatening, but until I heard Taylor made freestyle where the artist is like backing it, you know, and using it to like take down someone, you know,
right?
Because any AI song we've heard so far, I mean, I guess like, yeah, sure, there was some Kendrick disses that are trying to take down Drake and whatever, but that was kind of to be expected,
right?
In a sense, you know. But I would never think of like someone using it in a diss battle,
right?
And having like that your opposition's mentor talking to you.
Yeah,
it's always, so far all the AI songs are just like, or like, you know,
it's
like,
not used
imagine
creatively.
This if all these 3-4 artists featured on the song, wouldn't that be crazy?
Like Timbaland, like, I love AI. Wouldn't it be cool if we took like, you get Biggie in the song with this, you know, this person, that person, but it's never been used.
That's where it's like kind of like whack, because like it's for sure gonna be fake. But you have someone like Drake who's like obviously understands hip hop and is a Pac fan.
Yeah,
and like sure there were Drake flows he used, but like like my personal opinion is like when he was rapping like Pac, he was actually rapping like Pac.
Yeah,
you know, sure it was maybe like a shitty like AI tool he used or whatever.
Yeah,
like, I never heard a Pac song that relaxed. You know, but
they were trying to hear like there was apparently in the Taylor Made there was a space where he could have went Hennessy, enemy, but he didn't do it. So people were cheesing about it. They're like, "Damn, it was right there."
Yeah, but I mean, like, the way he comes in is like Illuminati. Like, I just wish I was at the studio session, because like, imagine like, you know, this guy's a goofy guy too sometimes, you know. And I just know that like when he was writing, he was probably just laughing to himself, you know, like going up to the mic. Imagine going up to a mic and being like, Illuminati, onto your soul and body. You know, and then just knowing you're gonna put a Pac filter. And that's the other thing now, because like I've never seen ever in like Kendrick's career like being broken down like this to a point where he's at the butt of a joke.
That's very true.
You know, forget the AI thing. Like, it's like we thought like this dude was impenetrable, but like, you know,
people weren't really talking about to the degree of what like they weren't really talking about his personal life. There was a lot very few things that you can attack Kendrick for.
Everyone was just like, oh, the guy's such a skilled MC, like, he'll take down Drake, no problem, whatever, the snap. But it's like, we didn't really think about like, well, Drake can do that as well. You know, I won't lie, like, even as a Drake fan, it was like everything that I saw was one-sided. It was always Kendrick's gonna take him out. Kendrick's gonna take him out. You know, I saw some like, you know, back and forth, whatever, but I feel like the main consensus is like, Kendrick has this in the bag. And like, I don't know, like where, like, I want to get your opinion on this. Like, where do you think that stems from? Like, I haven't heard anything of Kendrick's that made me go, this guy will knock another MC out.
I have. I can say
I've heard great music. Like, I know his music will be better than someone else's, but I haven't heard something where I've heard Kendrick that made me go, yo, if this guy was in a battle with someone, he would knock someone out. Because like, I've heard that from Drake, and we've seen that with Drake already. You know, just dealing with the Pusha T, or even the Meek Mill shit, like being battle tested, like, you know. So I was like, how can we say that about someone that hasn't been battle tested?
That's very true. I think the words when it came to battle tested, that was it. We hadn't seen Kendrick battle tested, which I think was the only loose screw in that operation. I was like, you know, we haven't seen this guy in battle. Same with J. Cole, kind of.
That's where it all falls apart, bro. Like, look what happened with Meek. The guy was a battle rapper.
What I will say when it comes to Kendrick Lamar's skill, I can say that I'm confident. Have you heard the Black Friday remix? Where it was what was it? J. Cole took a beat of Kendrick's.
Oh yeah,
Kendrick
yeah. We
took
hopped on
a
each
bull,
other's shit. Yeah.
And then they rapped on each other.
Yeah.
The one that Kendrick did of hands in the air. I forget what J. Cole song that is, but I think I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But he tore that up. He tore that song up. It was some. As an objective listener, you're listening to this like, okay, if this person was to go back and forth, like it could look scary.
Yeah.
So I'd say that song first, and then there were some other songs I'm just trying to name on top of my head.
Yeah, like
there were a few where you're looking at this, like you kind of understand why he gets the nickname Candyman at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. It was okay, like low-key, it could get scary if you're trying to wordsmith with this guy.
Yeah, I understand that part if you're trying to wordsmith with him on the same song. But I mean, like, that's totally different than trying to essentially, like, eliminate an artist.
Eliminate competition?
Eliminate competition.
I think
to make someone's whole fan base go, this is not the guy.
I think it always depends what you rap about, though. And that being said, it depends on what Drake has to loot, like, the dirt that's on Drake or the dirt that's on Kendrick.
Yeah.
So if you have bad enough dirt on you, you could get exposed worse enough. But if you're clean, like, you could rap about how his song's whack and like how his album's trash. But that doesn't really like.
Yeah, and that's so like you're totally right, and that's so far all we've had on Kendrick is that he's clean.
Yeah,
and that's why you can't break him. But like, who would have saw this coming? Like this angle of breaking someone down.
Exactly.
Having like like Kendrick was at the House of Blues, like having the torch pass.
Right, exactly. Using that.
Usually that's just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just like language you use.
Yeah.
It's just a phrase. Oh, we passed him the torch, right?
Yeah.
But the guy was literally had the torch passed to him. Like,
absolutely.
By like the legend themselves.
Dre, Snoop, and them, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, and they'll come out and say it too. But generally when that happens in hip hop, it's just like, oh, well, he's the next rapper from that city, so the torch was passed to him. Whatever, right. But this was like a moment that actually happened.
Yeah.
By Snoop and this and that. And I guess if Pac was around, maybe he would have been there too.
Yeah.
Right?
And on top of that, Drake.
To use that against you,
yeah.
I think like imagine how great of an MC you got to be to think of that even.
So I think it's also worth noting too that Drake is kind of revealing a hand that we haven't seen before when it comes to, well, Kendrick kind of leaked it on himself with the Morale album and talking about how he fucked every white girl in Edinburgh, Germany, or whatever it is, like the dirt that he did where he had a sex addiction. But the first time,
sorry to cut you off, like it wasn't just a sex addiction. He also had like 2 years writer block.
Right. Yeah.
Writer block for 2 years.
Right.
In my eyes, like, if you're like the guy, like that doesn't happen.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah, I can. Yeah,
like this is the guy that you send, the guy who had writer's block for 2 years, against the guy who hasn't stopped for a decade.
For a decade, yeah,
like
that's very true.
Like
very
no matter
true.
how great of music you make, like what if that happens? Like, and you never know when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not wrong that happened to you. That's okay if you got writer's block.
Yeah.
But don't fucking come back to the job and just start like pick up the sniper.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't make sense.
Do you think to be the guy with the top pen, it's got to be something that's continuous, never ending?
It's just I mean like it's okay if it if your fire diminishes for a little bit. You can always come back from that, right?
Yeah.
But like to come back and like start knocking on someone's door who has been permanently inspired for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not a smart move.
So would you say that if he didn't get to claiming himself as number one, fuck the big three, if he did maybe something like how Jay did, or he can step away from the game for a little bit, but people still look at him as the best rapper of all time, do you think that would have given him his credit?
He could do what Adele does, like just pop out every now and then, give us an album, and you'll be regarded as the greatest. But all this other bullshit that's happening, like leave it up to the rest of the guys that you're actually talking down on to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if he's if he's holding himself as high as he is. It's just weird that he comes like downstairs to the basement every once in a while and like want to like hang out with the tough guys.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just how like from all the music I've heard of Kendrick.
Yeah.
And like being a fan of that, but then also seeing and knowing, you know, what I've seen like on the Drake side.
Yeah.
It's just like this is one of the few beefs that I think can actually go like leading to like violence or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Not necessarily with Kendrick himself, but like this is essentially West Coast East Coast again.
Yeah, this is to that degree. It's
you know,
it's more than just the music.
Yeah, it can be more than just the music, you know. So I think both sides do need to be careful on like that end.
Yeah.
But then like, you know, with Future and Metro like all of a sudden going on tour, like what's that Toronto show gonna be like?
Yeah, that exactly.
You know?
It's gonna be interesting. And I think it's around the same weekend that the OVO Fest happens around too. I think maybe 1 week switch or whatever it might be, 1 week difference, or maybe the same weekend. But it's gonna get scary to see what happens
like
in
all
the 6.
that, like all that works in Drake's favor, you know.
You think so?
For sure.
Because Drake and Future and Metro already booked Scotiabank Arena for the date, the big arena, the one that the Raptors play at.
Yeah, that's fine. Like you have it that weekend, you know. It's not gonna work out. Like I feel like something's gonna happen, and then when Drake's show comes on, you know, or the OVO Fest or whatever just happened was great publicity for the festival.
What do you think happens if The Weeknd makes an appearance or announces that he's gonna be at the show, Metro Future?
He probably will be.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, that guy should take it to the end, because if he just stops, like, you know.
Do you think that ticket sales will lean in one favor or the other if suddenly we're seeing the 3? Because they're posting pictures together, Drake, Future, Weeknd.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Future, Metro, Weeknd.
Yeah, I think like.
You think
so?
People,
is Weeknd like a guest on that tour or something? Like,
let's say The Weeknd is announced coming to the Toronto show.
It'll sell out. If Weeknd's on there, it'll sell out.
Let's say that it's on the same, in a weird scenario, it's on the same day as OVO Fest. Do you think more people are going to go to that Future show?
I don't think any like
smart promoter.
Yeah, smart promoter would like try to even take that on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't make sense.
Who do you think would move it if it was already booked for the same day?
Well, I mean, you said that
Future and Metro booked Scotiabank.
Yeah, but bro, take like, you know,
different side of town, maybe.
I mean, tours get canceled all the time. You know, shows get canceled all the time. As far as I know, OVO Fest has never been canceled, has it?
It's COVID years.
Okay, yeah. Well, the whole world was like shut down that time. You know, if OVO Fest was shut down, then definitely nobody else is like doing shows.
Yeah.
You know? But
so you think that the tour would get moved before OVO Fest would get moved?
Yeah, that would be my final statement. Yeah.
I think that's rightfully so, because OVO Fest means
Toronto, bro.
It means a lot to Toronto more than a show would.
Like,
it's a weekend.
Like the government rides for Drake.
Absolutely.
When it comes to
yeah. No, I think it's fair. It's fair.
Know? And that's even like like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is Future even allowed here?
Yeah. He's been in BC a lot of times. Like I've seen him like multiple times.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's probably not happening anymore. BC probably, yeah. Everywhere else probably, yeah. But
not Toronto.
I'm sure it's gonna take one phone call to, you know, internal affairs.
Yeah.
Whatever it is we have.
You think he's got the iron grip on the Canadian border?
I don't know, man. This would be a way to prove it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
we always hear the stories about him like able to get someone across the border.
He got Nikki's husband in.
So let's see if he can stop someone from coming. That'd be crazy.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
But yeah, that's totally interesting. Like, I just thought, like, in my eyes, like, yo, the show will probably happen.
Yeah.
Right. But like, some shit will go down. Something will happen regarding it.
Yeah.
You know? Something will happen.
Now I got just a number of questions here. So since all that happening, Drake's been using social media to taunt Kendrick. Basically saying drop, like use me, like commenting on academics posts, use me as a he has nothing button, like just basically taunting Kendrick to drop. And we have had yet to hear anything from Kendrick since like that came out.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at kind of right now.
Yeah, I don't know if like I've like, okay.
I'll ask my last question first.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think that the Candyman mystique, quote unquote, that Kendrick once carried still applies? I think I already know your answer, but
no, it doesn't. Like, I don't.
They were scared to say his name for some time. They used to say like Kendrick used to rap like, "Don't say Candyman," like, know me, acknowledge me as that figure that you don't want to say my name, because if I come at you.
Yeah, but like, it's also like, even without anyone saying your name, you know, like if even if they had said his name, like we're already seeing him not reply, you know, like now.
Yeah.
So what difference would it have been like if they'd done that 2 years ago?
Okay.
Like you have 2 songs against you right now.
Yeah.
That did say your name. You know, or like you'd have to be pretty naive to be like, oh, that song's not about me just because it didn't say my name.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably like just like a Kendrick defense mechanism. Like, oh, like I only take it seriously if you say my name, but like,
yeah,
you know, not everyone's like you, like, you know, throwing out like 50 names for like a moment either.
Do you think there are time limits when it comes to the diss track responses, dating back to old responses, and now, like, you know, you'd have to get on the radio quickly and respond in real time live on the radio? Yeah. Or, you know, there'd be time that like, what are your thoughts on that? If it's
I think yeah, I think it just depends on like what level that beef gets at, right? Like now it's definitely at a point where like the everyday matters, you know.
Okay.
I think when the Like That record dropped, I don't think there was
no time.
Yeah,
time,
I don't
no
think
time
there was no time. But when the second album dropped, that's when I was like, yeah, like,
okay,
the clock's starting to tick. Like, you know, then it was like, I felt like, you know, it's more like written in stone. Like, okay, this is something bigger. You know, when Like That had just dropped, I was like, this is just like Kendrick taking a shot. I honestly thought like it wouldn't even might not even like get a response
from Drake.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because I want to know your comparison for each side. Like, when do you think there's a time trial for Drake, and do you think there's a time trial for Kendrick? So you're saying that there wasn't for Drake when Kendrick first shot. Like that, Drake maybe shouldn't have responded. But once Drake responded,
as a single, if it was just one single, I would think like if he responds or not doesn't even fucking matter, right? Because that big 3-line shit, whatever. Oh, I guess he did say like for
you're saying first person shooters, Prince to Mike Jack. The lyrics were pretty direct.
Yeah, but then it's just like, you know,
for all their dogs getting buried, you gonna see Pet Cemetery.
But that was also like for the references that he made, like the whole Prince, Mike Jack, and this and that, like that's all stemming from For All the Dogs,
right?
That had already been 6 months.
First person shooter. So you think that Kendrick should have responded within a timed period of time to first person shooter?
Yeah, like if that had happened, then I would be like, okay, let's start the timeline, right?
Okay, yeah.
But since it took like 6 months for that, I thought it was just kind of like a response. Maybe we might hear something from Drake on his next album or whatever, you know. Yeah. But then like the other news started breaking out, like, oh, there's actually another disc for Drake on that song. Yeah. And there's another album coming out, and this guy is actually down with it, and that person's getting involved. That's when I started feeling like, all right, now there's a time.
Yeah.
Time ticking now.
Yeah.
Once you really like consume that in, like, you know, then I was like, okay, time's ticking.
Yeah.
Know?
I agree.
But like if I just took Like That as its own song, if it was just like a single that had dropped, I'd be like, you can wait 6 months too. Who cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
You know. But
for the longest time, I always acknowledged, and this is the thing, I'm trying my best to keep it so that I'm looking at them at it has to be a full diss track.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I first started, I was feeling like the first shot might have been Like That. But no, to be honest, I look at first person shooters as the first blow, like first shot. And because, like you said, because there was so much time after that response, Like That almost gets that same grace where Drake can take a little bit of time.
Drake's the only one who ever puts the first diss record out.
Yeah.
In every situation
he always jumps out the window.
Yeah, it's always like the like disses that he responds to were always part of like some song or some album or whatever.
Yeah.
No, like there hasn't been one like direct
Drake diss song
that comes out from the artist that Drake replies with another diss. You know,
it's
always Drake going first. You know,
what I will say is there have been some instances, particularly when Budden was going at him. I don't know if you remember that time that Drake put the hood on, you know, walked out the room, didn't say anything, and there were grenades being thrown his way. And I think he was smart for not replying to Joe Budden at that time, because, you know, it is what it is now. But Joe Budden was like, go back, maybe listen to some of those. He was throwing haymakers at Buddy.
Yeah,
it was like, some of those were some hard bars.
If you had to start replying to like the Joe Buddens, you might as well start replying to your comment sections too. You know, of like every like, there's a caliber, bro.
Okay,
you know?
yeah,
There's a weight class.
Yeah.
You know? Even boxing has a weight class. Like,
yeah.
If you wanna, like, you know, if you wanna fight that guy,
it has to be sanctioned.
like, wait up then, you know.
Yeah.
It has to be like, like, you can't just.
He said, "Wait up, get your weight up."
Yeah, get your fucking weight up, bro. Like, you know, and even like the most successful artist out of all those that were coming at them, I guess, was like The Weeknd.
Yeah.
You know, he's the biggest, you know, on Spotify at least.
Yeah.
For most monthly listeners, you know, but his like response was kind of soft and could have been broad too.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously it is about Drake considering all the other songs.
Yeah.
You know, but everyone else, like, who was the top dog? Like, it was probably Kendrick, right?
I think so.
At like 30 million monthlies or whatever, and
Something
that's why he got the
like
response
that.
like, yo, like, Travis has you wiped down, SZA has you, like,
yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, I never said Big Three, you know, like, that guy did.
Yeah.
So stop gassing yourself up.
True. You've already kind of answered this one, but what are your thoughts on the current tactics of modern warfare in battle rap? When I'm talking about modern warfare, I'm talking about how they don't have soldiers running into buildings anymore.
Yeah.
They got drones. They've got different, like, rovers, things of that sort. So now when I look at it in the world of rap and hip hop beefs, I'm thinking memes. You know, Drake rapping at Meek Mill, but the memes playing in the background on the screen at the concert.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in academics' comments taunting. I'm talking about AI being used into songs.
Yeah.
These are like modern uses of kind of
Totally.
going back and forth.
Yeah.
That it's different from how they used to do it back in the day. Maybe back then it was just radio taunting.
It's definitely different, obviously, from back in the day, but it's always been as modern as it possibly could be. You know, like in the Pac days, like, you know, you can only consume the music if you bought it, radio, or music videos playing on the TV.
Yeah.
And they did all that.
Yeah.
You know, like they had someone dressed up as Biggie in the music videos, going off of them. Radio, they're just talking their shit. Concerts, like putting up pictures, like, you know, of like their offs, like when they're kids, or like in a like what happened to Prodigy, I think, or from Mobb Deep. Like Jay-Z was at a concert and put up a photo of him like in a ballerina costume or something.
Oh,
like
word.
that, whatever.
Did you hear about? There's a famous show where Nas was gonna take a Jay-Z doll and hang it from the ceiling during his show.
Yeah.
But last minute it got canceled because it was like the height of the beef. It was like a ancient story of that, but. Yeah.
So I think it's always been as modern as it could possibly be for the time.
Yeah.
It's just like from like the last era that like was beefing to this time, technology just moves so much crazier.
Yeah.
And now you can just like, you know, you can handle the whole beef just through memes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now talking about the other people that have kind of jumped into the beef.
Yeah.
Does the gang beat up make Drake appear to be like rap's Thanos? Or does it speak to how he's conducted his business in the industry? Of course, like the rumors of everybody having a woman that's associated with Drake, or Drake getting with everybody's girl. Yeah. What do you think it speaks more to? Does it speak to the business acumen, or does it speak to the fact that he's just so huge that it needs that many people to take down one guy?
I don't like. I would think they're super naive to think like, oh, if it was us that got together, we can take him down.
Yeah.
You know, that's too naive of them. Right? and I don't think it'd be that collection of artists. You know, of artists that would be able to take Drake down.
They're pretty heavy hitters though. The Weeknd, Future, Metro Boomin, the #1 producer, ASAP Rocky. He's fizzled down, but he's pretty heavy. Like he had his.
See, shouldn't have to make excuses for anybody like that.
Okay, like, again, that was I named about
like
4.
No one goes like Hawks, like, you know.
I named about 4 people before I got to Rocky. Just give me that at least.
Yeah. I mean,
but there's some heavy hitters.
Weeknd being the biggest, obviously, had like 0. Like I don't even think probably Weeknd like fans like realized he probably even did that yet. Now I'm talking about the other like 50 million.
The 18-year-old girl that's...
Yeah. You know, they probably don't know that to this day, that like he's involved like that.
Yeah.
You know, like that few, like, bro, I was at the Weeknd concert when he came here at BC Place. Like, when you see all like the walks of life that like come to a weekend show,
Yeah.
like trust me, they're not tapped. They're probably
They're not tapped into rap.
what's happening. They're not tapped into like what he's a part of right now.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's like the reason Weeknd as big as he is because of all that, like the rest of the music he does.
Yeah.
And just how universal and like global it is, right?
No doubt.
So I don't think like the Weeknd is a threat in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's crazy because like like we do have someone who's essentially bigger than Drake, but still not a threat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's no one who can like take the guy down lyrically that's big as him or bigger than him.
Mm-hmm. It has to be like a fact. It's not gonna be from
It
the
can't
lyrics.
be
It's gonna
like-
be like a Pusha T level. You were hiding a second child type of
It's
thing.
gonna have to be like maybe they all found out like, you know, Diddy has a video on him or something.
Something crazy.
It can only be something at that level, but I can guarantee you it's
Probably not that, yeah.
It's not that. And I wonder if like they even like understood like what was happening. Like I wonder, did Kendrick go in knowing that like other people are involved?
Like, very good question.
You know, or when everyone found out, they're just like, I don't care. Like I don't fuck with him anyway, so that's not gonna make me stop taking my lyrics down or whatever. You know, like I wonder how Metro approached everybody.
Yeah.
Because like from what Kanye is saying right now, he made it seem like there was like a round table meeting,
How to take him down.
and everyone's just like, you know,
And that was what I
having
was.
their Maltese cat, like finding out like how can we take Drake down. And it's like, oh, we're all excited about the elimination.
So that was actually gonna be my next question. Well, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it leans more towards his business acumen? If it's not everybody trying to take him down as Thanos, like
I think
what do you? Because honestly, and we hear the likes of academics mention this. No matter what side you're on, you have to ask, what did he do, or what happened
Yeah.
to all these people for them to all turn on him at the same time?
yeah, and that's just like even to this day, I'm just like what could it be? And if we had to like make theories, my theory is that it has to be something so big. And right now, the only thing that's happening that's so large is this whole Diddy speculation, right?
Right, yeah.
And I think it's like maybe they got somewhere and they're just in on it early. You know, like they're just like, let's just start now.
Yeah.
Because by that time that news drops, it will be the final blow. It won't be any of us having to drop any more diss songs or this and that. It'll just be done.
Yeah.
You know? And we were the guys that like brought it to the
forefront. Yeah.
That's the only thing that I can think of. Anything else, like the whole like, oh, he fucked the girls, whatever. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
think that
No
bothers
credence to
any
that.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to jump into what you were about to get into, what do you think about the external interferences, or do you think that they can water down the current state of the beef? For example, Rick Ross responding when we're trying to look at the Kendrick and Drake,
For sure.
or the Kanye remix,
Yeah.
or the ASAP Rocky response where he's saying "I hit your girl 1st,"
Mm-hmm.
or the Weeknd saying "Damn, I'm glad I didn't sign a y'all because I would have got tied up in a Lifetime 3." Like, what do you
Right.
think? Do you think that it waters down the beef that we're waiting for, or
Yeah.
do you think that?
For sure, it waters down everything. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's why everyone's feeling like, fuck, man, these guys need to like respond to each other more quickly because like all the other shit that's happening is just like I can't remember the last time, to be honest with you, everyone else even got mentioned.
Yeah,
Like it's literally back to like just Kendrick and Drake.
yeah,
You know, sure, like he's even responding to someone on this track, but I haven't even heard anyone outside this conversation bring up what Weeknd said. You know, or even the ASAP thing. I saw a couple headlines,
yeah,
but it's just like it's already getting watered down.
No
It's
cap.
already like old news already. They're just waiting for the Kendrick and Drake thing to drop, and that just even speaks volumes to like how like whatever issues anyone else had, how like nobody fucking cares, even if it's all true.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody cares that you're going through that with Drake.
yeah.
You know, like we just need to hear your fucking music. You know.
I think, honestly, when it comes to that, I think that the Kanye one was one that almost put the nail in the coffin for the corniness.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about how they're sitting in a round table and they're excited and energized
Yeah.
to take out the Great White North. Like, what is going on? That shit had me so
he just nonchalant
like,
was like, yeah, we were all excited about the elimination of Drake, and you know, like as if it's like they had like problems like at the gutters at their home or something. They finally like cleared it all up or whatever. You know, like I just can't believe like how nonchalant he was like on that interview. Just like, yeah, we're all
Justin
cool
LaVoy ass
interview.
interview.
Matter of fact, here, let's just play the song. Even, you know, and it's just like a whole nother song. Even like just.
He
You know what the funny thing is?
redid the beats.
Yo, but he kept Metro's drums, right? Obviously.
Did he?
It was just the drums that Metro had on the original like that.
I know he kept like, or he added like the choir, like the
Yeah.
like
but he kept Metro's drums. And that just like gives more ammo or more weight to what, you know, what Drake said, like, just shut up and make some drums, bro. Like, you know, that's the only thing Kanye kept of that song, you know.
What do you think of conversations about how J. Cole's only redemption arc is to reply to Kanye talking about he makes he dries the pussies out? Like, Cole should respond to Ye and diss Ye to get that spot back in people's heart. That's like one of the only ways that he will be able to, you know.
I just think like I don't think it like Kanye's version is gonna damage like anybody, you know, just because of like his, you know, like troubling past, right?
Yeah.
At this point, it's just someone like crying for help. I feel like.
So you feel like a J. Cole response is like hitting below the belt, kind of.
Yeah, and J. Cole said this already, didn't he? Like
false prophets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So like, you wouldn't want to hear a J. Cole that is thinking, I know you guys, like I said I wasn't gonna be that rapper because this is my guy Kendrick. I don't want to go there with him, but I'm willing to do this with a Kanye. You don't really see any.
No, I don't want to hear any more squares like go off at each other. You know, like it's not entertaining at all.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
They're just gonna apologize one day or just like, you know, talk about like, oh, well, we all need to come together. It's like, no, you guys don't. You guys fucking, you know, you guys are in hip hop. You guys are in the most competitive genre there is.
Yeah.
And the competitive part isn't dissing each other.
Yeah.
It's pulling up with your music, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Selling music, selling at shows. Like, fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like, try it for 1 year and tell me how your life goes.
You'd
like,
be surprised.
You'd be surprised, you know?
I mean, I can't speak to it. I haven't done it before. I can't talk about how easy you've done it.
I mean, no, I'm talking about how hard it really is.
Absolutely.
You know, and like Drake's the only one who's still doing that.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think like everyone needs to kind of like take a like temp check on themselves. Like, it's been a decade.
Yeah. Look who's still on top.
Let's talk about that. You know, it's been a decade. What have like you really achieved? You know, like if you come to those artists, like talk about those artists. And if you think that's great and that needs to be talked about, then why can't we just like keep Drake as like the greatest? Because he,
man, you know, you already know the game, bro.
Quadruple that.
They're not okay to say, okay, you take number one. That's not how this works.
No, I'm just saying if they feel important, if you yourself, like if Kendrick feels like he's a top dog, he's a top guy, you know, with all the facts that he has, with all those numbers, album sales, awards, this and that, then how is it like not understood
the amount of time, the comparison between the two?
Yeah, no, it's like if you feel like you're the top guy for all the achievements you have, then why isn't this guy allowed to feel the same for himself for what he's achieved?
Yeah,
because it's 10 times more.
Crazy. You know? That's heavy talk. It's heavy talk.
You know, but that's just like numbers, right?
Yeah.
You know, or
you know, the conversation, they say this is like a new age thing talking about numbers though, like, you know, like
that's like, imagine we just stopped giving a fuck about like NBA like points. You know, like
fair.
Oh yeah, I don't care that they beat him by 30.
You have to
points,
been first
like,
team.
Yeah, like you know, but like those guys had way better dunks. Like nobody fucking cares. Like players get signed on
stats.
The stats.
Yeah.
They don't get signed on the shit to talk.
Do Pulitzer prizes count for any points?
What's that?
Pulitzer prizes?
Like I said, like you have to be a square to apply for a award.
I don't think you apply for that though. I think that's like a Nobel Peace Prize. They give it to you based on what you. I don't know that because the Pulitzer, they look at it high regard. I feel like it's nominated. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't know.
But then that would be weird too.
Hey, they fucked with that album heavy.
I don't know.
They love Damn.
And that was kind of like, you know,
I think it was for Damn.
It wasn't. I don't know. Wasn't it for Pimp?
To Pimp Butterfly. To Pimp Butterfly.
I thought it was for that.
Yes, it was.
Could be wrong. Yeah.
National monument. It's in a museum somewhere.
Yeah, but like that's just such a Kendrick Award win. Like I don't think anyone, I can't imagine any artist in their life, or at least for the artists that are involved in the shit, you know, because that's the only people that would probably
Drake
really
could
matter.
get that, and they would gas him. If Drake got a Pulitzer, they would gas him, and they would
You're
use
right.
that as ammo.
He would be gassed for getting that, but like, you know, if I had to give my opinion, I just think that prize is irrelevant. Like,
okay.
I never
In hip hop. Yeah.
at least,
Okay.
You know? Like, I can only imagine Kendrick even caring to like apply for it or submit for it.
Yeah.
But you're like, I guess if it is like, you know, like
nominated,
it's nominated and it's not like you submit your shit or whatever, then I'd give a lot more respect.
You gotta some points are deserved for it. At least.
Some points are deserved for that.
Okay,
for sure.
That's fair.
But if it's like, anyone can submit, then the only person who would care to do that is for sure.
Kendrick. Okay. All right.
For sure, bro.
Now that being said,
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I'd be like, there's no way in hell that's the only album in hip hop that won a Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, I think the only album music total. I think usually they give that award to like documents of scientists that discover the cure for
there's
this
a music
or that.
category.
Oh, okay.
It dates back all the way to.
Okay.
I've seen the winners like from past years.
Word. Okay.
There's definitely a music category. That's why I felt like it was submitted.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, it is. I'm pretty sure it's the only hip hop album on it.
Right. That's
everything
what I'm
else
hearing.
I've personally seen has been like jazz works and pieces and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like I think Kendrick would be the only one who'd come up and like, you know, be at like a marketing meeting, be like, yo, we should apply for the Pulitzer Prize.
One of the last questions I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on the big three? Does the big three exist still? Does it no longer exist? Was there a name swapped out? Is there a fourth name now in this? What are your thoughts on that whole thing since the J. Cole apology?
The big three to me is always going to be number based, you know. So at the time of this like interview, like whoever the top three people in hip hop are, you got to check the numbers. You just have to. There's no if ands, or you can't just choose based on like,
what numbers? Spotify numbers, collective numbers,
albums sold, units sold, whatever numbers that we take into account.
Billboard
chart, all that.
Because Billboard's everything, I think.
Yeah, right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
So
because
like,
again, some people's gonna look at Spotify and be like, "He's the top monthly listeners. He's number one." It's like, no, there's 4 other platforms that you're missing.
Yeah, and that gets like really misconstrued because like you gotta understand like some of these artists are not being even played in certain markets, right?
Right.
You know, but another thing is like with the monthly listeners, like you know, so when you upload music to Spotify, right? You get this personal portal. It's called Spotify for Artists, and you can check your analytics there, right? And I don't know if they still do this, but you used to be able to type in like any artist name and see their numbers.
Numbers, yeah.
Right? And like the monthly, like the relation from monthly listeners to like the streams you get, they're sometimes almost irrelevant to each other.
Okay.
You know, like I know Weeknd is the top right now with 113 monthly listeners, but the one who's doing the most daily streams right now is Taylor Swift.
Right.
Like no one comes close to that.
Do you see that 2 million in 1 million in one day, 2 million in opening weekend or some crazy?
The project she just dropped did $1 billion already.
Imagine
and
going.
I was like, I knew she was dropping. I didn't know it dropped, and like I just found out it dropped, and I just got the news that it's $1 billion already.
Yeah.
You know, but like, what I'm trying to say is that like, even though Taylor Swift isn't number one on Spotify for monthly listeners, her listeners are rinsing her music.
Right.
You know, whereas to weekends, you might have all those people, but it might be someone who maybe had your song play on like a playlist, like on shuffle.
Right.
That didn't mean to listen to your music. You know, so the streaming numbers can be like a facade a little bit.
Right.
Know? Especially with all these Spotify playlists, you know, like we give streams away to artists that we didn't even enjoy the music of.
Yeah.
You know, but even then, like if you have to take that into account and take away like the discrepancies and stuff like that, Taylor Swift is like top dog when it comes to.
So she's in your big three.
Well, like, are we talking big three? Like,
I'm talking. So my question is,
Yeah.
what do you consider the big three? I'm more so talking
Yeah.
about your personal hip hop big
Oh,
three.
my personal like
Yeah.
hip hop thing. Okay.
Do you still
Yeah.
think J. Cole is part of your
J.
personal?
Cole was never in my big three
Interesting.
ever. Like Kendrick, no. Drake, yeah.
Kendrick, no.
Kendrick, no.
Who's in your big three?
It would have to be him, Jay-Z, and third person I'd put there would be.
I want to say legacy acts are set in stone and put in a shelf somewhere. I want to say
I didn't think Jay-Z
like if you're
was,
talking about Jay-Z,
legacy.
Lil Wayne, like some of those people, like
Yeah.
because they're not too active.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to put them.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Then like my big three would still be Drake, Weeknd,
Okay.
and for the third one, Jesus Christ, would I even listen to?
Again, rap.
Poppin'?
We're talking rap hip hop. So Weekend might be a loose.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
I don't want to
pick a
sway
song.
yours too much as well. I'm just kind of trying to,
Yeah. Fuck, I don't
guardrails.
even know then, man. Because like
Or maybe there is no big three. That's another option too.
that's what I'm trying to also like convey is that like who's like I don't like you're just making me realize I don't even know if I fucking care to listen to anybody else.
Yeah.
Or like anyone that's even pulling up music that's like notable.
Right.
But if it's in that regard, then yeah, Kendrick would be there,
Yeah.
but definitely not J. Cole.
Not J. Cole.
Yeah,
So that's very interesting. And that's kind of
Yeah.
where I was thinking that you might be.
Yeah.
Drake, Kendrick.
yeah,
Who would you say might be like a third, or would it just be? Because I've also heard Kendrick's no longer in, or J. Cole's no longer in the big three. There's nobody to replace that. There's no longer a big three now. Now it's just big two, or
Yeah.
maybe just the top two, whatever you
Yeah.
want to refer to it as.
yeah. Because if we had to go like numbers based, from the last time I checked like the numbers, at least on Spotify, the big three would be Drake, M, and Kanye.
Okay, yeah.
That would be the big three numbers wise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But if you're gonna,
I'm not mad at those
if
names.
You're gonna play the legacy rule.
They're still active, so
Okay,
I
okay,
almost
yeah,
want to kind of
yeah.
give you like
Yeah, you're
Eminem
right.
was on Cole Bennett's
Yeah.
recent
Is
project.
that album on the way too?
Yeah, exactly.
Album on
So
the way.
he's
Yeah.
still kind of in the field. They're both kind of in the field. So I would give that a pass.
Okay.
What I would say for me personally, Drake, Kendrick
Mm-hmm.
are unsolidified. They haven't moved from their position. They were there and they're still there. I'd say J. Cole was there. That apology really broke my heart because
Yeah.
I'm a big J. Cole fan, and he was talking big dog talk and he was flexing. He was Muhammad Ali. He, was trying to say that anybody that wants can get it. To see that happen, bro, oh my gosh. You can't take that spot in my personal hip hop opinion.
Yeah.
I think that in the beginning, the first day, I was cracking jokes. I was saying, Big Sean, put your pants on. You're back in the combo from 3, 4, 5 years ago. I was inflated, but obviously I'm not putting Big Sean in that third spot. If I was going to say, if there was to fill that third spot, Future would be very notable.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Future. I think he has the streets on lock, and I think that his numbers also speak for the same.
Yeah.
One of the highest selling in the genre. But to be honest, I would want to put him on like a number 4 position rather than a number 3.
I'd put Travis up before I'd put up.
Okay.
Future,
Okay.
top 3.
Yeah. But to be honest, in my opinion, I don't fuck the big 3, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. I think it's done. I think
Yeah,
it's-
and I guess this really does circle back to like our first like topic, which is like the state of like the decaying state of hip hop.
Yeah.
I think there was a time when like you didn't even have to think too hard
yeah.
on like naming those 3 or even 5 for God's sake.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, so
But
this,
like it's gotten to a point where it's like if you really want to know the answer, you just gotta look at the numbers because that's what the world numbers just don't lie. The world's telling you. Like,
are you sure numbers don't lie? They got stream farms places in
That's
in the
true.
middle of Idaho, 10 iPhones on the wall.
Yeah, that's true. But then it's like that goes for everybody. So I think no matter how many playing like or farms you have, like it'll just only descale the numbers, but that gap will still be there.
Yeah.
I feel like because like.
They talk
If
about
I-
how they farm Drake's, but they make his numbers go from 50 million to 100 million, so it doesn't seem as unreasonable.
Okay.
But they're not going to do that for a smaller artist because it's going to obviously look inflated.
Yeah. Oh, then like fuck, like you can't trust anything.
That's where I say, I mean, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
But numbers can be jaded, in my opinion.
Numbers can be jaded. Yeah. But then that's the same. Like again, like I think it still proves my point that like even bot farms are like, yeah, let's just push Drake.
Yeah.
You know, like if that's true, you know, if they are like really going behind him and getting his numbers to feel like that, like why aren't they doing that for you or the other guys then?
Exactly.
It'll always, unfortunately, he just has that grip on the game where it's always be like it's just made him the chosen one for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just what like for the rest of the like generation of everybody else's career, they just have to live with that.
Yeah, no cap.
Or do something about it. Like it's gonna take more than just dissing the guy.
Yeah.
And I think like we've learned that already.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, that was a jam-packed episode of the current state of hip-hop here with KultarGotBounce. Man, shit's a mess. Shit's a mess,
bro.
It's a blast to come here and be able to sit with somebody that's as tapped in with it as I am, and be able to just kind of spitball different ideas and things of that sort. So
likewise, man.
It's been a pleasure.
It's nice to be able to talk about it and not just being like, man, fuck Drake.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
No, and what I'll say is this is different from any of the other For the Records we've done where, and of course we're probably gonna run this back and actually do like a when there's a project coming out or something of that sort.
We should come back to this even when the dust settles.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll come back circle, talk about other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Kultar is one of the most prolific producers in the city of Vancouver. Work with some of the most amazing artists, some of the most amazing work. Check out his links in the description. Check out more of his work. Subscribe, follow on iTunes, Spotify, all of that stuff.
Yes.
Run them numbers up. They got some crazy music on there. But yeah, it's been another episode of For the Record here. My guy Kultar talking about the current state
Hip hop, man.
of hip hop. Thank you very much, my guy.
My guy, thank you so much, bro.